All right, welcome to the Krueg Show after Giants baseball. Giants lose in Detroit. And what can you say about this one? We'll get into it here. Welcome, I should say, to the Krueg Show. I am Larry Krueger. On the far box is Dan Coccimilgio with his Niner hat on. Ryan Smith in the middle looks like he's just got out of the gym.
It looks like I got out of the pool, honestly.
Seriously, where your hair's a little wet. You got the towel rolling.
I was I took Ringo to the dog park. I haven't. There's no dog parks around Lafayette, so I found one in Walnut Creek that had great ratings, and I had to be out there anyway.
Which one was it? Was it by Heather Farms?
It was not Heather Farms. That was another one I was looking at. Starts with a P. I can look it up, but essentially the problem with Ringo is he gets obsessed with the ball. And if you don't bring a second ball, you'll never get the first ball. And then whenever there's any water stations of any kind, he just goes and just freaking creates a giant mud puddle and rolls around in it. So I was just like chasing him around and freaking had to hose them all off. And it was just
should have videoed it. Would have been more action than the game. Could have watched. Had something to look at.
Oh, yeah, the Giants, once again, Logan Webb looked good early. His final line was 4 2/3, 5 hits, 6 runs. The Tigers blew up with a 6th spot in the 5th. Reyes reached on the infield single, and that scored Tucker Barnhart and Candelario to make it 2-0. And then Cody Clemens singled to right, and that scored Achille Badu to make it 3-0. Castro singled, and that scored Reyes to make it 4-0. Castro, different Castro, then doubled to left. That scored a pair, 6-0. And it was all over but the crying. So Giants did get some shutout relief from Zapucki and Young and Littell. Giants did score the 1 run that they got on the LaStella single in the 7th inning that brought around Yaz to make it 6-1. But, what can you say about the Giants? I mean, they're not a good offensive club. They left, 10 on base today. They went 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position. 1 for 13. That ain't getting it done. The first run they scored didn't come till the 7th. They wind up losing 6-1. And what can you say about the Giants other than they're just playing out the string at this point? And, a lot of people on the chat want to weigh in. DJ Venus, so many runners in scoring position and just couldn't get it done. I mean, there's no doubt about that. He said couldn't get a dime. And then he says, oh, wait. Done. So there you go. But I just
joined the chat too.
What's that?
I just joined the chat too from my phone.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, there's my
boring, causing weariness and restlessness through a lack of interest, causing boredom. That is the Giants.
Video night. I don't even have to watch them, but just kind of check in here and there to know what's going on. I used to watch every pitch of every game, and now I just kind of I got to go about my day. Let me check in here, see what's 5th inning, no runs. 6-0, boom.
That inning was disgusting. I mean, Webb Webb really had it going, and
no hitter through 4.
It was just plays that honestly could have been made in the infield, and a couple walks, and just 2 strike counts, and just right over the glove of Crawford, and it was just an avalanche. And I feel bad for Webb. I mean, the truth is, if he only allowed 2 runs that inning, they still would have lost. So I mean,
I just feel like the Giants feel like they have, for a team that has no established everyday guys, they do have a lot of guys that are platoon guys, but somehow on this team, in this atmosphere, in this market, have become sacred cows. And that is a problem. Austin Slater is a marginal big league player But here he's like a sacred cow. Like, oh, people are touting him as a great defensive center fielder when he's not. People are talking him up like he's great. Mike Yastrzemski is a career minor leaguer who they got out of the Orioles system, and he had a nice year. He hit 220 last year. He's hitting 211 this year. But he's Yaz. He's got a cute little baby and a cute little wife and a cute little story. And so he's a sacred cow, despite the fact that he hits 211 and is at best a platoon player.
Okay, Larry.
I love Crawford, but Crawford's hitting under 220. But wait a second. Guess what Crawford is? He's a sacred cow. Evan Longoria is in a hot streak right now, like what I would call a garbage time hot streak.
Yeah,
the season's done, and now he's looking like a batting champion. Went 0 for 3 today.
Called out the Mike Trout.
He is also kind of like this sacred cow. Like, oh God, that's Longo. Oh, Longo, living on past production, past glory. Then let's go to the top of the lineup. Lamont Wade Jr. is a minor leaguer. He's hitting 175. He's played the majority of his professional career in the minor leagues. We're figuring out why. He's sub 200 as a hitter. He's sub 300 as an on-base guy. But guess what? He's a sacred cow for some reason.
Minnesota didn't bring him up 3 years ago and have him stay.
But is he Kapler's nephew? Kapler leads him off. Kapler hits him at the top of the lineup. Kapler treats Lamont Wade like he's good, except he's not. And he's a sacred cow. And then there's Tommy La Stella. And Tommy La Stella is another past his prime veteran who used to be a decent utility guy. They paid him too much money. And because Farhan is financially in bed on a long-term deal with Tommy La Stella, guess what he is? Another sacred cow. So they've got sacred cow La Stella, sacred cow Lamont Wade, sacred cow Longoria, sacred cow Crawford, sacred cow Yaz, sacred cow Slater, except all these guys don't produce. And so what do? You can't farm. You can't DFA La Stella. You can't farm out Lamont Wade for Elliot Ramos or anybody else. You can't, eat the rest of Longo's deal. You sure as hell can't say goodbye to Crawford. Yaz is one of our guys. Slater's one of. That's where they're at. They got a bunch of guys. They got a bunch of platoon players, and 85% of them are sacred cows who are treated like they're stars when they're anything but a star.
I've got the 40-man roster right here. Let's do a quick exercise for 23. Let's do a keeper, move on, or a meh, kind of like.
We already did this.
Not on all 40, did we? Look at this. This is what they got next year.
Go through 40 names.
Let's just do binary. Yes, no.
No. How about this?
Yes, no, or maybe.
Let's say I don't have enough time for that. Let's just go with yes, because most of them are no. Who do you want back next year out of this team? La Stella.
Okay. No.
JD Davis.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have the 40-man, Larry?
I got the 40-man right here.
Yeah, Dan, rip through the 40-man.
We go real quick. Jose Alvarez.
No.
Joey Bart.
Yes.
Brandon Belt.
No.
Jonathan Bermudez. They just picked him up. No. From Houston. John Brebbia. I'll take Brebbia.
No. Too much work. Change
out
your relievers.
Alex Cobb, he'll be back. Yes. He's decent. Brandon Crawford's a yes because he's signed. JD Davis.
I'll give you one sacred cow. He's it.
He is.
Yep. JD Davis.
JD Davis is fine.
Sam Delaplane. Who knows? Anthony DeScalfani, he's got to come back because he's got 2 years left, $12 million each. So
terrible contract.
Camino Duvall,
terrible Farhan contract.
Duvall, yes. Estrada,
yes.
Flores, free agent. Would you bring him back?
I would.
Sure.
Okay.
He's coming off his career year.
Arlene Garcia.
I have no thoughts. No.
I would say no.
Luis Gonzalez. Yes.
Yes.
Sean Jelly. I have no feeling either way. I don't think he's going to be that good.
I don't think he's a major leaguer.
I don't either. Bryce Johnson, who's called up today,
he looked horrible.
Whatever.
Non-major leaguer.
Yep. Jacob Junis, yes.
Junis, yes.
Tommy La Stella, no.
Another one of these, bad contract that's on Farhan.
Dominic Leone, no.
No.
Zach Littell, he's a maybe.
No.
No.
No? All right.
No.
I don't know. Mauricio Lavera.
No.
I guess. I mean, I have no problem in being on the 40 man, but
Sam Long.
Yes.
Evan Longoria.
No.
Junior Marte.
Yes.
They just picked him up from the Mets. Patrick Mazeika.
No.
Keep him on the 40. So he's a left-handed catcher.
I guess.
I say no.
Hermine Mercedes.
Yeah, I'd take him back. Yes.
I would say no.
Jock Peterson.
Yes.
By the way, Dan, not to derail this, but I know you've had some phenomenal takes. Truly, I'm being honest. Like, you've had some phenomenal takes. One take that was not great was when Jock got off to the hot start, and you were like, "We should just lock him up for 3 years, 40 million, whatever."
Maybe in a different team, he would be good for 3 years.
I like Jock. I mean, what the hell? Why not?
He's fine.
He's starting to hit.
At least a major leaguer.
Yeah. Ford Proctor.
No.
Don't even know much about him.
I won't even rent it.
Yeah. Elliot Ramos. That's a yes. You got to give him a chance.
Yep.
Yes. First of all, let's see him.
Rodon's a yes, but he probably
Rodon's a no.
You wouldn't bring him back?
No, I don't want Rodon back because he's not going to sign back to back for short term. He's on a 5-year deal, and now he's going to get the big deal, and you don't want him on the big deal.
Should have got rid of him. Should have got rid of him while they could.
Exactly.
But Larry, if he wants to come back for one more year, then we will.
Well, he's got a deal. He's got a deal for $22 million for next year.
Yeah.
If he comes back for 1 year at $22 million, yes. If you're going to sign him for multiple years, no.
Okay.
He's going to opt out because he's having a great year,
right?
And he's going to get 5 years. And I wouldn't give him 5 years either.
No way. Wow. That's exactly. I'd rather give Gausman the 5 years than Rodon the 5 years.
Randy Rodriguez,
such low sports self-esteem right now.
He's a guy you probably want back on your 40. He's a young guy. Randy Rodriguez, pitcher.
I mean, nobody's ever seen Randy.
No
Rodriguez,
one's ever seen him.
We don't even know, but he's.
I'll say yes. Whatever.
Tyler Rogers. That's an easy.
No.
One. Gregory Santos.
Yes.
No.
You don't want Gregory Santos? He throws 100.
I'd take him. He's only 22. Under 40. Now, we're not talking 26. Austin Slater. I think I'm done.
Ooh, is that me?
No Austin Slater.
It sounds like Completes is ready in the microwave. Are you guys hearing that?
No,
I'm not hearing that.
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah, Austin Slater. I'm done.
No, you don't. I don't need Austin Slater.
You don't. You can find those guys anywhere.
If Farhan really wants to have 5 guys who are everyday guys, then no.
You don't have room for Zapucki. I don't need a Zapucki.
Yeah, no, he's fine. He's a lefty with a big overhand curve.
Andrew Vasquez. I guess they just picked him up. He's a pitcher.
No idea who he is.
No. VR. I don't. He's on the 40. Yeah. Vosler.
Utility. No, Vosler.
I'm done with Vosler. Lamont Wade, done.
No.
Done.
Lamont Wade is baffling that he's even still here. What's he doing? What would you say you do here, Lamont? I mean, what is he doing?
Yeah. Donovan Walton, he's a good utility guy to have on the just as a roving guy.
No. What
are
we
40,
doing?
You need a guy that's.
No. I know, but Dan, how low of sports self-esteem do we have that we're just like Rodon? No, but you know what, Walton, he's a good utility guy. We should keep him on the. I don't know.
I mean, whatever. Logan Webb, yes. Colton Welker, yes. Alex Wood, yes. Austin Wins, no. Yaz, I'm saying no.
No.
Not even he's going to be 33 next year.
Okay. I mean, I don't care if he's 10. It doesn't matter. He's hitting 220, 211 last year.
No power this year.
211 this year, 220 last year. That's trending in the wrong direction.
Yeah, he's not hitting the home runs like he did last year. He hit 25. This year he's like what, around 10?
No more sacred cows. I
Yep.
don't care how cute his kid is.
And that's it. Last guy, Alex Young. I don't need him either. So they've got about 10 guys that we're talking about, somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 guys on their 40. You're talking about a massive overhauls, 70% reshuffling the 40 man. They got to get these prospects up and going, get them on the 40. I mean, I'm ready to put guys like Casey Schmidt on the 40 so that he can come up next year instead of playing this shuffle game of throwing these guys off the bottom, the guys on the roster. I think 35 through 40 shuffles every week, like rotates. Farhan just moves guys between 35 and 40 on the roster, on and off. And
Robert Winship, post-game guys praising LaStella as offensive high point today. Now that's brutal.
Oh, because he got 2 hits?
That's brutal.
I mean...
See, that's why you thank God you're not fronting some loser. You don't want to front a loser, and that's a loser. Fronting guys who stink because their contractual status, man, that's loserdom at its finest. There's absolutely no way. LaStella is beyond done.
And they got $40 million coming off the books with 2 guys, with Belt and Rodon. $40 million. Belt's 18 and Rodon's 22. Neither will be on the club next year, most likely. So that's $40 million you got. So go ahead and get rid of the $11 million you owe LaStella and just write it off as bad, debt, and buy out Longoria for $5 million. Now you've got 40 plus 6. You got $56 million you've just created. Now you can go out and get some top free agents. And speaking of free agents, don't think it'll happen, but the 23 schedule just came out today. Yeah. Giants open up in Yankee Stadium.
Yep.
How would that be to happen?
Which is lame. I mean, seriously, that's not opening
do they think
day.
Does Major League Baseball think that Judge is going to sign with the Giants?
What do you make of that, by the way? Every team's playing every other team. The Giants are playing every team in baseball next year. What kind of a schedule is that?
It's the new balanced schedule. And they're only playing the division either 12 or 13 times. And they play everybody else in the National League 6 or 7 times.
Oh, they're going away from the unbalanced to a balanced?
Yes. I actually don't mind
how many games in the division? How many games out of the division?
12 or 13 within the division, depending on it rotates. 2 teams are going to be 12, 2 or 13. So 50 games between division opponents, and then 6 to 7 between other teams in the National League.
All right. Well, that ain't bad. I like that. I like that better than 18-5 or whatever it was.
2 trips.
It's also pretty cool that every other year we're going to have the Yankees and the Red Sox like in Oracle.
Right. This year we got the Red Sox in Baltimore, and I think
it's fine. I mean, it's kind of like the NBA. At least
it's just kind of weird that they're going to open up in Yankee Stadium. I mean, is there something?
It's just not opening day. It's not right.
It just feels weird though. That I mean. I don't know. I mean, Judge is either going to sign with the Yankees, most likely. But if he does sign with anybody other than the Yankees, I would say the Giants would be at the top of that.
It's in New York, by the way.
Why would,
if you're going to have the Giants play the Yankees, wouldn't you, and you're going to have them open, wouldn't you want that game in San Francisco instead of, there could be snow on the ground in New York.
On March 30th? Yeah.
But also... but I don't think it's like that. Like they're not like picking to make the best. I think it's just like we're playing in Yankee Stadium. Then next year we're playing in Oracle. And
I'm just saying, I would think that they would want the West Coast teams to be at home in since they're starting the season in March. It's cold in Chicago in March. It's cold in New York in March. It's cold in Boston in March. There could be snow on the ground. It's nice in California in March, but whatever. I mean, obviously they got a whole schedule to worry about. They got to make the whole thing work. Calba says the Giants have committed $66 million to players next year, assuming Rodon's out. Crawford at 16, Longo $5 million buyout, Wood at 12.5, DeSclafani at 12, Listella at 11.5, Cobb at 9. I mean, look at that right there. Farhan,
16.5 million is gone if they buy out Longoria and
but that was
Listella.
But just Farhan himself has almost $25 million of bad money with DeSclafani and Listella. So, before everybody's giving him just this huge break, like, oh, do you realize what he inherited? All the bad contracts and this and that. $25 million of bad contracts are his going into next year. If the Giants could divest themselves of DeSclafani and Listella at $23.5 million for next year, they absolutely would. They just signed those deals.
I think DeSclafani, if he's healthy, might have a bounce back because he had that ankle issue last year at the second half.
But now we're thinking like Farhan. Okay, you know what? If we bring them back and then all of a sudden they have a completely unprecedented Giant comeback and play at their full potential.
He did pitch well last year.
I know.
So I mean, you gotta assume
DeSclafani had a good first half.
Yeah, and then he hurt his ankle in a game, and he's been battling it ever since.
But I mean, you couldn't have gotten him for, I don't know, 1 year and $12 million. You had to give him a 3-year, $36 million deal.
Yeah, the fact that they did that.
I mean, really?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even know.
And same thing with Listella. You couldn't get Listella on a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal. You had to give him a 3-year deal.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a lot of money for Listella. It's like
it's
$40 million for 3 years for Tommy Listella. My God.
Yeah. Speaking of bad
my point
money,
is just that Farhan, and people make it seem like Farhan's a genius and Bobby Evans was an absolute fool, and that Evans signed bad contracts and Farhan was just going to come in and issue nothing but good contracts. He's been here 4 years, and now you've got $25 million of bad contracts for 2 guys you don't want that you can't trade. Yeah, so I don't know. It just, and this whole like pie in the sky, we're gonna find five. We'd like 5 guys in the lineup to be everyday guys.
Oh, they're going to have to go out and definitely. I mean, you're going to have to go out, try and get a Trey Turner, a Brandon Nemo, a Judd.
But they don't like shopping in that aisle. They like to shop in the AAA aisle.
Yeah, that's the problem. That is the major problem. Is if Farhan, I mean, it really isn't that difficult. It's just money, and they have the money. So if they want to spend the money to go out and, pay a little more than what market value is to get some guys, that's what they have to do. Otherwise, you're looking at another 2-year drought before any of these guys are ready to contribute from the minors. And, there's some good news on the farm front. Read some stuff yesterday on Luciano.
No.
Luciano's looking pretty good.
No.
I got faith in Luciano. He's a ball player.
No.
You'll see.
There'll be no. Seriously, I'm putting this down, and I'm putting it down. I'm putting my foot down on this. No A-ball discussion on this show. A-ball discussion is for losers.
Okay, Casey Schmidt's double A. He's looking pretty good. He's Casey Schmidt.
Okay, Casey Schmidt, you can talk about.
Yeah,
double A.
He's double A,
but you cannot talk about A-ball guys.
All right, we'll talk about him next year when they move up.
The rule is you have to be good in double A. If you're good in double A, you're worthy of talking about. If you're not good in double A, you're not worthy of mentioning.
Kyle Harrison's doing good in double A.
He's in double A, and he's worthy of mentioning. Yeah, but I don't want to hear about Luciano. Don't talk to me about Matos. Don't tell me about Hunter Bishop. Yeah. I don't care about any of these guys. I don't care about anybody unless they're doing well in double A or if they're in triple A. Double A, triple A, it's relative. It's relevant. A ball and lower, it's loser giant fandom talk. and we don't participate in loser giant fandom talk. Nicole 5 says, kudos to the Larry Krueger show. It's you guys against the other Bay Area media that can't be uncensored. Yeah, it is kind of sad if you really think about it. It's like nobody actually is forcing these people to look at the bright side. They just kind of know it's in their best interest. Like when I was at KMBR, nobody called up and said, "Hey, by the way, you better really suck ass on the Giants. You better really kiss up to them and ignore all their bad stories and highlight all their good stuff." And I don't think anybody necessarily, I doubt you'd find like an internal memo at NBC Sports Bay Area where Carlos Ramirez was, forced to say nothing but glowing crap about the Giants. I just think that he kind of knows his place. And the people who are in, if you're on the flagship, you kind of know, you know what? They're not going to like it if we speak the truth. So let's just giggle and talk fantasy football and get down the road.
Is this Angela, the horoscope lady? Is that the same Angela? Maybe.
No, her name's not Angela.
It's not. I thought it was. Oh, okay.
No. What's up, Larry? How's it today in the creek? Ooh.
It's a little bit sunny. It's about 89.
Let's check it out. I would say it's definitely, I would say 90.
About 89.
Let me double check that.
Yeah.
Creek. It doesn't say it's available. It says it's unavailable right now.
It says it's 86.
86.
Oh,
high
good
80s.
Guess.
High
Good
80s.
guess. Here in Peoria, Arizona, it's a cool, what do we got here? 101. Feels like 104 with some humidity. Possible thunderstorms later on tonight. Everybody buckle up and buckle down. Watch yourself. Watch some of those lightning as you walk your dog.
Ronald BBX. Let us be optimistic about Eugene, Larry. No.
We've been hearing Eugene for 3 years, this farm system. And
Jesse Foppert was awesome in A-ball. Joe Rosselli was awesome in A-ball. Armando Rios lit up the Cal League. We can go on and on and on. The Giants have had an endless parade of guys who light it up in A-ball, get to Double-A, and just decide they're going to be carpenters or decide they're going to sell real estate or
what is Carol T trying to say here regarding Farhan's interview with TK? If you like S season, you'll love next as well.
If you like
maybe this season.
Well, you know what? And I actually listened while I was at the dog park. I listened to that and I put it on 1.5 speed because I just couldn't deal with the laughing and all that crap.
Oh, his constant.
And so I just wanted
you sped it up.
I sped it up. I just wanted the freaking information, and it made me feel. It made me feel horrible about it. It made Farhan basically seemed like he had like everything just went wrong and like essentially he kind of got he got screwed this year. But like, he was acting like he was not acting like this at the deadline. He just wasn't. And then he said he said on there that they weren't even. He said he didn't even think they were even remotely close in Juan Soto. He said.
Then why did he come out a week before and says, "I think we have the package"? He's a BSer. I mean, he said we have the package, and he got everybody all excited.
He said, we have the wherewithal. We have what it takes to acquire a.
Is he a pathological liar or something? He just come on.
He didn't say star. He said a superstar player.
Right. He said
any position.
And then he comes out and says, well, we were never in it. I mean, he had everybody like on the edge of their seat thinking, maybe this is it. This is why I say
why the F were you not in it? Why the F were you not in it?
Because Amato's having a crappy year and Luciano was hurt and Bishop.
So we weren't even a little bit in it. He didn't push. It sounds like he felt like, we're probably not going to get him. Let's not put our resources.
I wish I could do his voice. What did he say? Well,
they were saying before you do voices and insult people, let's not make fun of his voice. His voice is his voice. I'm just saying,
imitate him.
Yeah, but it's, I'm trying to keep you out of trouble. So just, but ultimately, he didn't have the pieces.
No.
But that's on him too, because he's been the GM this is his 4th year.
Yeah, he said that it was going to require more pieces from the major league. And they really
because because major league general managers are smart. They're not idiots. And they're not optimistic about the Giants prospects, nor should they be, nor should you be. What they're going to take the bird in hand. So I guarantee you any offer for Soto started with Logan Webb, and talk to 90% of Giants people. That was a deal breaker. And it was probably a deal breaker partially I would imagine, if you think about it, if you really were the Nationals and you're going to talk about trading Juan Soto to the Giants, and you've witnessed the Giants' ineptitude in the farm system, you'd want basically Joey Bart, Camilo Doval, Logan Webb, Kyle Harrison, and then some collection of 2 or 3 other prospects. But you see what I'm saying? Look at that. Right. That's at the major league level. Why? Because Logan Webb's not a risk. Doval's not a risk. Bart is less of a risk. And Harrison's doing it in AA, so he's less of a risk. So you got 4 guys there. If they were willing to trade those 4 guys, they probably could have made a deal. But they didn't want to trade any of those guys probably.
Well, and also the biggest effing cop-out BS was he said – Tim brought up the idea of a superstar and acquiring a superstar, and he immediately almost pivoted to, well, you know what? If you look at the Giants teams that won the World Series, 2010, 2012, 2014, they did that with homegrown players. It's like, okay, so is that like if you're I don't know, the Indiana Pacers, do you say like, oh, look at the Warriors, They did that all. They didn't bring in any superstars. They just had homegrown talent, and you know what? That's like and they won all this stuff. But it's like, okay, how can you? You're just praying that somehow out of the blue we have guys that turn into blue chip all time guys. How is that going to happen? You got to make some moves. We can't just sit on our ass and wait.
Yeah, I mean, and there's lots of ways to do it. Deep down, he's right. But this is year 4. So you've had, where are the players above AA? The Padres gave Robert Hassel because they picked him in the draft. And where are your draft picks? Let's talk about that. Who are the Giants' top picks? Top 5 picks, let's say, in each round since Farhan took over, and where are they and how are they doing? How's Patrick Bailey doing? How's Hunter Bishop doing? How's Will Bednar doing? How's Reggie Crawford doing? How's Carson Wisenhunt doing? How are the guys that he drafted in the first 3 or 4 rounds of the amateur drafts that he has presided over? How are they doing? That would be the fastball in on the hands if you're trying to be, I'm going to do a tough guy interview and get to the bottom of it. And that's the one thing about Tim. I'm here, Kyle I didn't see the interview.
I just put up the closing article.
Kyle Martinez says that Kawakami was kissing his ass. Is that true?
I mean, he did. He asked the questions, but every time it was like prefaced with like, look, I know you know this, just as well as we do, blah, blah, blah. But the other thing that just annoyed the hell out of me is that Farhan started to say the things that, honestly, Larry, I would say, spearheaded, and then us collectively were saying, a quarter of the way through the season. And now he's finally saying those things. You know what? We got to get younger. We got to get faster, more athletic. You know what? We got to get 5 guys that are just going to be, starters, just that we, everyday guys. And, and it's just like all the shit that we've been saying all year. And it's like, all right, now you're admitting it when you have there's nothing you can do. There's nothing. I
think that's what he does do. He gaslights so he can string the fans along and people, suckers like me, renew their season tickets. Well, I'm not renewing in 23 because I've eaten too many tickets this year. I don't mind eating a few or whatever, but no one's showing up. And you can go up to the game and get the seats you want when you want to go to a game. So once the Giants get competitive, heck, I'll be one of the first guys in line to get seats. And I'd hate to give up my great seats, but my goodness, you're looking at a 5% increase. And if you renew now, you can save that 5% increase. If you commit right now, they want me to commit right now. And we have no idea if they're going to go out and sign anybody. And what they'll do is we're going to name all these big names we're in on, and they'll come up. Oh, we just came up short. We just missed out on Harper. We just missed out on Shohei. Oh, we just missed out on Suzuki. We were close to the Soto sweepstakes. Oh, no, we weren't. We were never in it. This is the thing they keep doing and doing. Instead, we get this parade of Padlo.
I may try to be like I may try to copy that approach, like as a Giant fan next year. I'll stand in the line for the crab sandwich, but then I'll get out of line, right at the end, because I priced it and I thought about it, and it was just a little bit beyond my budget. And so
what you do is you order it, you take a bite of it before you pay and go, you know what? This just wasn't what we
It's not quite what I anticipated. I can't invest in the total crab sandwich. John Proctor compares him to the vice president. He says the awkward giggling is absurd. Oh my God. Let's not go there. Let's not go political on this thing.
Hey, listen to this quote that this is Tim Cook.
Dan says he's done a terrific job.
No, not me. This is TK's article in The Athletic, the last sentence about Gabe. Farhan speaking of Gabe. This is about Gabe.
He's done a terrific job. The fact that he has our players' support, I think the guys in the clubhouse still believe that we can make a run at this, and that's a testament to his steady leadership.
I had to cut off the period because of the exclamation point because of the too many characters. Yeah, but
you had a character issue.
Yeah, that's what Farhan is saying about Gabe, and I'm thinking the fact that he's saying
the fact that the players haven't quit on him is really a testament to him.
The fact that he has our players' support.
That's just crazy.
It sure looks like it when they're on the diamond, man, getting one run. They scored 4 runs against the hapless Tigers in 2 games.
The dead is a doornail.
Oh, they wanted to give away the last game too, but Rodon was just a little too good.
Yeah. Why would you continue to throw out this top of the order line? Tommy La Stella, you don't put your slowest guy lead off. I don't care if he gets a hit every time. Just don't put him
if he got a hit every time, that would be not bad.
I mean, still, he can't. He's going to get doubled up. He can't score. I mean, he's a guy that was on base yesterday at first base, and they hit a ball to the wall, and he couldn't score.
Mole says maybe it's the people Farhan has running the farm system as well. Cleveland is in first place. They got a $65 million payroll.
I mean, that's the other thing that he mentioned in there is that, Tim, and this was just this was the most schmarmy kind of like talking down to you thing was Tim was like, well, and then he was asking him about budget constraints. And then he's like, I mean, last year you guys were a top 10 team in spending. I mean, do you see that going forward as a possibility to be top 10? And he was like, well, I mean, that's not exactly our objective to monitor the rest of the teams in the league and their salaries and make sure that we're one of the number 1 through 10. But it's just like, okay, we all understand that. But can you just just give us a vote of confidence that you're going to be amongst the top teams in terms of spending?
Well, here's the first question of any legitimate interview done of Farhan. You're 13th in you're 5th in revenue and 13th in payroll.
Exactly.
Why? Why are you 13th in payroll and 5th in revenue? Why the disparity there? Go for it. What do you got? What's your answer? I'd love to hear that answer.
No, but I asked him that when he put it out on Twitter. I said, hopefully you asked the question, why are you 13th in
revenue or
payroll, but you're 5th in revenue? And I also asked him, did he ask why the Dodgers spend 52% of their revenue on player payroll and you guys only spent 47%? Why are you not spending? But he didn't ask those questions. So
GD5, if these guys like Luciano, Schmidt, Von Brown, Grant McCrae, basically A-ball guys, all pan out, then people will feel differently in a few years about Farhan. Until then, his work is a question mark. I guess fair enough.
Yeah, if they pan out.
But the Giants have had A-ball guys before. Giants have had a lot of A-ball guys. Now Schmidt is AA, right? But the rest of those guys are A, aren't they? Isn't McCrae still A?
McCrae's low A. He's San
low
Jose,
A.
so he's got to move up to Eugene, and then he's got to go to Richmond, and then to Sacramento. I mean, the step between Richmond and the big leagues is not all that big. It can happen quickly. You can have a guy go from AA to the majors in a year, very easily. If they're doing well at AA and they get promoted and do well at AAA, boom. But
I mean, some of the questions that just have to be asked in any kind of a Farhan interview, your revenue payroll disparity, that's got to be asked. The other question that has to be asked is, how many years did you think when you took the job it was going to take you to turn it around? And how many years now that you're on the job do you think it's going to take? And is that those numbers the same? And I want answers. I don't want gibberish. I want answers. I want a year. I want you to quote me a year. You thought initially it was going to take you how long? 4 years, 5 years? Now you're in year 4. How many more years do you think it's going to take? And I don't want gibberish. I want a year. I want a number. Those two questions have to be asked. Absolutely. And then, did you really think that you were going to get anything but failure from a year where you kissed off Chris Bryant, Buster Posey, Donnie Solano, and acquired 0 right-handed bats? Did you really think? You seem like a pretty bright guy, Farhan. Did you really think that you could subtract that much right-handed thump from your lineup, replace it with absolutely 0, and that you would be competitive? You seem smarter than that. So, I mean, I want reality. I mean, that's already, it's like he's probably taking his sweater off and starting to be like, I'm sweating here, because those 3 questions, there's no ambiguity in those questions. There's no favoritism. There's no anything. It is what it is. And then ultimately, the other question that has to be asked is, why do you understand the fans' discontent? And unless he just falls on the sword and says, absolutely, I totally understand, it's my fault, I blew it, I'm the one who created these lofty expectations and didn't deliver. Unless he falls completely on the sword, I think his own comments, his own actions have to be reviewed. You went after Seiya Suzuki, you went after Trevor Story, you didn't land either, you didn't get anybody even in the ballpark, or even a rung beneath, or 2 rungs beneath, or 3 or 4 rungs beneath. You immediately went to Padlo and Fairchild and these minor league guys. So what's going on there? And then why would you come out and say a week before the trade deadline that you have the ability to acquire superstar level players at any part of the field and any position on the field, and then follow that up with no acquisitions of anybody who's approaching that description at all? Why would you create? Isn't selling your? Are you trying to get fired? Are you trying to create a fan uprising? I mean, you do realize that, you're doing on some level sales, and you have to underpromise and overdeliver. See, because if you do it the other way and you overpromise and you underdeliver, people get fucking pissed. See, That's what happens. If you undersell it and then surprise people, then it's like, all right, smart business, and that's what he could get done. But if you oversell it and can't meet your own estimates, what the heck? I mean, what are you doing? Aren't you kind of inviting? Aren't you the reason the fans are upset? You created an illusion of you were going to get something significant done and got nothing done. You created an expectation for Soto and Shohei and delivered JD Davis.
That's Larry, seriously. I mean, you're dead on, because you know what? Now it's like And even Tim was giving him an out. He's like, he was basically saying like, we could use the superstar. That'd be great for the fans. You care about that at all? We need a guy who's an everyday guy. But then he gave him the out, like, but also I know like you can't just snap your fingers and a superstar appears overnight. And that's when he kind of got into like the homegrown stuff. But it's like, well, then that's fine. You can basically say, well, it's difficult to get a superstar and like we don't want to like mortgage all our assets. But then why the hell did you come out at the trade deadline and say that they had every, they have the ability to do it? Then do it. Or don't say that.
Don't say that. Don't allude to superstar players if you're not going to, you can't allude to superstar players unless minimum you're going to acquire star players. You can't acquire role players, a role player, after you referenced and said, I mean, you got the fan base hot and bothered, and you delivered JD Davis. JD Davis is pretty good, but guess what? Everybody's kind of disappointed because you created an expectation of superstars. Do you realize that was a mistake on your part? That's the fastball in on the hands that he's got to answer, that he's got to be accountable for. But maybe the truth of the matter is you don't get the interview if you're going to bring the heat, really, right? Farhan, who's he sat down with? Pavlovich and TK. And it sounds like TK softballed him a little bit. I don't know that, but based on what I'm hearing here. And I don't know TK to do that. He usually asks the tough questions, especially since he's somewhat removed from the whole situation. It's not like he's a giant beat writer, right? So he can kind of
the questions
he's not leaning on a giant clubhouse to produce quotes that he needs. It's hard to ask, Evan Wiebeck go in there and roust Farhan. The next day he's got to stand there at somebody's locker as they're putting on their underwear, and get answers for the paper the next day. So he's like beholden to them.
Yeah, I think the thing with Tim was he asked the questions. If you read them in print, they sound pretty, forthright, but the tone in which they were delivered was kind of,
sheepish.
A little bit sheepish. Yeah, a little bit kind of like, well, I don't want to, I want to soften the tone of my voice so you don't feel like I'm coming.
I don't want to come across as attacking, but I want to ask these questions.
Yeah, but I think more importantly, Tim's
pretty straight shooter.
Yeah, he should have pointed out that there's a hole.
What do you got there?
There's a hole right here. Oh. Yeah, and so what we have here is these shingles.
See, Farhan, there's a hole in your guy's roof.
Right, and then you've got some roof.
The roof directly above the hole is on page 2 and is the top picture. This is why the hole was generated, because the roof is lifted.
So just so everyone has a little bit of history here, I know I talked to a couple of you before the meeting, but this is the third homeowner since.
It's the third time we've been dealing with this homeowner.
It's the pictures on page 2 of your syllabus.
That's great.
Missing GD5. Tommy LaStella still being on the Giants is worse than Jimmy G still being a Niner.
Yes, not even close.
Yes. In fact,
LaStella doesn't exist to me anymore.
I would rather see Jimmy G up to the plate. Honestly, it would be a little bit more entertainment just to see what he would do. And
Tommy LaStella almost deserves the "What would you say you do here?" What would you say you do here, Tommy LaStella?
Yeah,
man. Kyle says there was a lot of talking down from Farhan. Really? I mean, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that talks down, especially if you back him off a little bit.
Yeah, he just does that.
I always backed him off a little bit. I always backed him off. I would always ask him some tough question, some direct question, just to let him know that, you know what, bro, I know. So you can play that game with other people. You can't play it with me.
I know that you know that I know.
Yeah. I know who's in your farm system. I know how far they are away. I know the likelihood that they're going to be any good. And so I'm not just going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe. What?
If you were betting, would you bet that LaStella will be back next year? Or would
Yes, of course
you,
it'd be
11.5 million. They're not going to eat that probably.
Giants don't eat money. They do, but they don't eat it.
They eat our money.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the Giants won't eat money like that. They'll eat it after they've belabored the point and, next year in June or something.
Yeah, that somebody says Mad Bum getting paid to just DH is better than the Tick wins and the limp LaStella. That would be more entertaining. Get Mad Bum up here to pitch every 5th day, and
think about it. Think about it, Danny.
Let him DH.
You just said it. Farhan, is like walking around taking victory laps when they allowed Madison Bumgarner to sign big money deal elsewhere.
Yeah,
essentially, you're paying DeSclafani and LaStella exactly what you could have gotten Mad Bum for.
Actually, less. I mean, they could have got Mad Bum for less because
I thought Mad Bum was like 23.
No, he's only like
look that up.
18, I think. Let me look up.
I think it averages around 20. My point is, you're paying $25 million for DeSclafani and LaStella, two people that have no real tie to the franchise and don't put anybody in the seats and aren't part of the lore of the Giant franchise. You could have had a guy in Bumgarner who was given a standing ovation the other night, wearing a Diamondbacks uniform for the same money that you paid for DeSclafani and LaStella. Who would you rather have right now? Would you rather have DeSclafani and LaStella or Madison Bumgarner?
Oh, Bum easily.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, Bum's this year's 21.8, same for 23.
They're paying roughly
24. He's only 12 million, 13 million basically for 24.
My point is just you could have had Bum. Instead, you said DeSclafani and LaStella. So who's the genius? Are you the genius? Are you smarter because you got rid of Mad Bum and didn't pay those prices? Or are you smarter that you spent that money that you saved on DeSclafani and LaStella?
Wait, can you guys hear this drop?
What would you say?
Yeah,
you do here.
Yeah,
is that you can?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I love those. I love that scene. I bring the reports from because the guy's just losing his mind. What's wrong with you people? And he's like, oh, that was great. Someone says, what happened to Melvin Adone? Melvin Adone, I believe, had a serious arm injury. Is working his way back.
I think he's working his way back. Yeah.
Working his way back to you, babe.
Working way back to you, babe.
Danny's singing with a burning love inside. He's working his way back to you, babe, with a burning love inside.
Was that the Temptations? Who was that?
No, Temptations.
No, that was
no, not Temptations. I don't know who it was, but it wasn't the Temptations. That'd be my guess. Yeah, no. I guess this one here from Kyle. He says Tim's most important question was what Farhan's favorite restaurant is in the Bay.
Yep.
Yeah, that was.
What did he say?
Something Bermuda or what was it?
Yeah, it was like Burma.
What if he said?
What
if he said
food?
What if he's like Five Guys? Five Guys south of Market.
Yeah, I should remember that. The Spinners.
I'll say this: we went to the House of Prime Rib a couple weeks ago. The prime rib was phenomenal. It really was phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Saint was there. Gary St. Jean was in the house. I mean, what can you say? I mean, that, I credit Tim just for going after Farhan and at least ask him some questions. And who is that? Who sings that?
The Spinners.
The Spinners. There you go.
Spinners.
Someone says Vaughn Brown is 24. He's an A-ball and he's 24.
Yeah, he needs to get moving. Like this is
he's older than Juan Soto and he's an A-ball.
Right.
And people are talking about him optimistically.
He's a 5-tool guy right now, Larry. A-ball 5-tool guy.
Yeah.
He's also a 2-name guy. Oh wait, no, he's not.
He's gonna go straight from playing an A-ball to managing an A-ball. Watch. Yeah, Vaughn Brown's our new manager. Yeah, he's here. He's looking great.
It's one of those guys you just fast track and just say, hey, look, we're going to see if you got it. If not, boom, you're out of here. 24, it's time to crap or get off the pot. Let's get moving. If you haven't reached the big leagues by 25, I'm talking just a day, whether it's a September call-up, a cameo appearance by 25, the odds are you're not going to make it in the major leagues. That's just my criteria I set, because good players in the minors, they get to the majors by 25. They just do.
Typically, yep. Humble season ticket salesman. The entire reason that Farhan was hired to poach LA's scouting department and be able to keep up with their farm system for years to come. Not seeing any evidence of that happening.
He even brought up in the interview, like some trade that the Dodgers made, getting rid of Cobb and somebody or in Puig, and getting great prospects back, and then that was used to get Turner.
Yeah,
and it's like, could we do a little bit of that dusting of that maybe?
I was just hoping, I got to be honest. If you said, what's your real evaluation of Farhan? Well, I mean, we had that incredible year last year. I think he's pretty smart, but ultimately, if you look at the moves, they don't add up to a lot. And right now, I'm not seeing a lot of building being done. I'm not seeing like superstar players in the lower minors, and I really don't believe in the prospects at all until they actually come up and do it. So then it's a matter of, okay, what about his major league trades? What major league trades has he made?
It's like he said that he was going to. He said he was going to build a house. Trades. No. He said he was going to build a house, and instead, for this whole year, he's just been having us stay at various Holiday Inns and Motel 6s to get just one night at a time.
Right. Robert Winship says, "Bingo, Larry. Under promise and over deliver. Seems to me Sabian did that." Well, that's the way it's done. Heck, I was having this conversation with Ned the other day. I was like, Ned, can you believe this? Farhan is talking about superstar players and then trading for JD Davis. And I'm like, what happened to the under promise and over deliver? And, he just was like, oh yeah, he's not going to, he's smart enough not to bury Farhan. But at the same time, it's like, that ain't GM, advanced GM psychology. That's just basic sales 101. Don't get the fans hot and bothered when you're not going to deliver. You want to underplay and downplay your moves. And then if one of them comes about and it turns out to be great, then wow, look what I did. Look what I was able to do. There'll be plenty of time to celebrate how smart you are. Don't try to tease it like, oh my God, we're potentially up for a superstar at the deadline. And then you got all these people checking their phone. This is not the Oakland A's, Farhan. This is the San Francisco Giants. The Giants have a lot of fans, and the Giants have a lot of hardcore fans. And so if you suggest they're going to get a superstar, even if you suggest it mildly, guess what they're going to do for the next 5 days? They're right up to the deadline. They're going to look at their phone. What superstar? And then the deadline's going to come and it's going to go, and they'll be like, lying sack of shit. You know what I mean? That's what they're going to say. And that's probably what a lot of Giants fans were saying. So if you want to avoid that situation, you say, you know what? I don't know what we're going to be able to get done, but we definitely have some things we'd like to get done that we're trying to get done. I don't want to overpromise anything because I don't know how the market's going to go, but we love
to. It's like tell people,
or just say it differently. Just say, hey, you know what? I would like to absolutely acquire a superstar franchise altering player. That's what I would like. Now, I can't make the other teams bite, and I can't guarantee or even promise to the fan base that we can deliver anything close to that. So I just want you guys to know. But in my world, that's what I'm aiming for. That's what my expectation is, and that's what I want. Okay, Guess what? You've laid it out there, baby. You've laid it out there. You're about the superstar. You want to improve. You're going to knock on the door for the superstar, but you're not creating an expectation. If anything, you're almost downplaying it. You're telling everybody, hey, this is what I want. But guess what? You don't always get what you want in this world. And I'm going to fight like crazy to see if we can put together a good deal to acquire that kind of a player that I know the fans would love to see. Heck, I'd love to see it. Gabe would love to see it. The guys in our clubhouse would love to see it. So I'm all about that. But I can't promise that. Instead, he's like, we have the wherewithal to acquire a superstar player at any position on the diamond. 5 days later, J.D. Davis and 3 relievers.
Yeah. Zapucki.
I mean, seriously, you created your own problem. You know, I mean,
yeah. When I tell people,
if you're creating your own problem on that front, that kind of makes me wonder exactly if you are as smart as you're billed to be, because really, really smart people don't necessarily do that.
Right. Imagine if I went to a client and I said, hey, look, I've got this product. I can get you a 10% bonus on your investment. You got $100,000. I can get you 10,000. Then I come back and say, you know what? I was wrong, man. You're too old for that. It expires at 72 and you're 74. I'm sorry. I could only get you a $2,000 bonus. But hey, you're still ahead. 2,000. The guy's going to be like, wait a minute.
Anonymous. Pavlovich is a tough, hard-nosed journalist. Is that sarcasm? YouTube expert. Pavlovich is super creative and passionate. Anybody?
Bueller.
Super creative and passionate. Gonzo Shitcock. Cole Kuiper will ask the tough questions we want answers to.
Oh,
now people are fucking around. Now I know. Oh, here we go. Shante Ortega. HOA meetings are cringe-worthy. Sorry, Danny. Oh my God, this is a good one. Spencer Stewart. This is exactly why you couldn't pay me to be on an HOA. BS like that. Yeah. Oh, Dan, that was epic video. Video. I don't know. Someone says Delta Dave 44. I hear Connor Joe is available. In hindsight, Connor Joe is one of the best players that Farhan ever traded for.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I mean, unfortunately, he was faced the wrong direction when he was here. I mean, could you imagine if the Giants acquired a pitcher, but instead of facing the hitter, he was facing center field? Turn around. Turn around. Connor Joe was facing the pitcher. He's a right-handed hitter. When he was a Giant, he faced the pitcher. I mean, maybe start right there with that ain't gonna work. Oh man. So anyway, that one makes me laugh. Jim Molay says, at this point, I'll even take the circus acts. Like get Barry in at bat so it resets the Hall of Fame clock. Could you imagine how much criticism there would be for the Giants if Barry Bonds came up for one at bat and his Hall of Fame clock was reset? You know how many writers would write terrible articles about the Giants and the day
that baseball died.
Yeah. The Giants are manipulating the process of the Hall of Fame. They're an embarrassment, blah, 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 blah. GD5. Listella's Marco Scutero. If Marco couldn't hit it all, that's good. Listella was Marco Scutero if Marco couldn't hit it all and was never available. That's pretty good.
That is good.
I got to admit, that's a good one. Danny, did you see GD5? You see that comment there?
Listella is Marco Scutero if Marco couldn't hit it all and was never available.
Oh, God. Anyway, Shante Ortega says, can't fool Larry. No, I mean, I'm not going to say I'm the greatest and everybody else sucks. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. I just think that if you're going to take the time to get an exclusive with a guy, ask some good ones. Ask some direct questions that are like, you know what? This is like I would say to Farhan if I was doing an interview with him, hey, Farhan, congrats on last year. This year hasn't gone well, and I got to be real about it. And I'm going to ask some real questions here. So, you know, I'm going to ask the best question I got, and you give me the best answer I got. I'm not going to play games and try to double back, follow up, you know, use your words against you, you know, tactics that a lot of journalists and a lot of media people use. Well, you said on the 19th this, and now I wouldn't do that necessarily, but I would ask some of the tough ones, which is why the disparity between what your revenue is and what you're spending, and why were you pricing, you know, Lamborghinis and purchasing Fiestas, and why were you talking up big trade deadline deals when it doesn't sound like you were really close to anything, and why would you create that fan expectation? You seem really, really bright. Like, why would you want to create an expectation of the fans? You know, some of those questions, I think these are situations that he didn't inherit. See, I feel bad that he inherited some bad contracts, but I don't feel bad about asking those questions because that's the job that he's done. Those are the moves that he's made. And he's a big boy and he's making a lot of cash. He can answer those questions. Todd McLean says, what happened to Will Wilson? We paid like $12 million to pay off Zach Cozart's contract to get Will Wilson. Yeah, that's what were you expecting Will Wilson to be when, you know, do you feel like you're getting $12 million of benefit off of the $12 million that the ownership paid to pay off Cozart's deal? At least then that's like basically saying, come clean on Will Wilson. Is he worth it or is he not? Do you regret that move or would you do it again? You know,
can't talk about Will though. He's an A-ball.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Still an A-ball after this is the third year. He was drafted the same year that they drafted Hunter Bishop. And both of those guys are still an A-ball. While if you look at that draft, other players have already made it to the majors. I believe Riley Green was in that draft, and he was playing center field for the Tigers today. You know,
GD5. I'm a people person. I have people skills. Oh, that was phenomenal.
What year was that draft, by the way? Was that the 20 draft or 19?
Which one? The Will Wilson draft?
Yeah.
I don't know. Wasn't my turn to watch Will Wilson.
I'm going to look it up because that was the year Hunter Bishop. I think
people still swear by Will Wilson. I mean, how do you know if you're talking to a giant mouthpiece or somebody who's independent? If they're talking up Will Wilson, they're a giant mouthpiece. Because seriously, you spent $13 million on Will Wilson. So if somebody's talking that guy up right now, you got to pull their credibility card.
Okay, here's the draft. Listen to these guys. I won't name them all, but 19 draft. Adley Rutschman first. He's up in the big leagues. Right. Bobby Witt Jr. second. He's up. Andrew Vaughn was up back. No, he's still up. Andrew Vaughn is up. I'm thinking of the guy, the Tigers first baseman, Torkelson. He's back down. That was another year. But J.J. Bleday, he just came up the other day, hit a home run for Miami. Riley Green, those are your first five. C.J. Abrams, he's up. So the first six guys are up. Nick Ludlow, Reds. Josh Jung, Rangers, 8. 9, Shea Langoliers, Braves. He's with the A's now and is a top prospect in baseball. 10, Hunter Bishop, still an A-ball. And then 15 in that draft. 14, Bryson Stott, shortstop, Phillies. He's up. Alex Manoah, Blue Jays, 11, behind Bishop. He's up.
And then doing 15, well, right?
Yeah, and Will Wilson's 15, still an A-ball. And then 16 right behind him, Corbin Carroll, AAA, probably player of the year, going to be up next year for the D-backs. Why are we're not even scratching AAA.
They passed on Corbin Carroll?
Yeah. We're not even sniffing. We're not even sniffing AA yet. These guys have like 8 or 9 of those guys are in the majors.
It's gotten to a point where I'm starting to think that it's not just who they're picking, it's their developmental staff. You know what I mean? They're not just not picking the right players. They're being derailed by their picks and they're being derailed by their developmental staff. Because some of these guys would develop, you would think, and they're not. And I've heard from guys who played in this Giants farm system that compared to some other systems, the Giants just roll the balls out there and say, have at it. Now, I don't know. I'm not there. I this is literally secondhand knowledge from people who have played and coached in the Giants farm system, but they say that other organizations do a lot better job at development than the Giants do. I'm starting to take that. I'm starting to believe that that's probably the case. So it's interesting. This is kind of interesting. Rebel 4444 says, my take on Farhan is that he's a great asset to your organization, but shouldn't be at the helm and on top of all baseball operations. I think that's probably right.
I'm starting to wonder
he probably should be your assistant GM who's like, hey, we need to, make this minor league move and this minor league transaction and this promotion and this demotion. He might be one of those guys that like, he doesn't just specialize in the back of the roster. That may be like, he's maybe a one-trick pony and that's all he's got is the back of the roster. Because at this point, I haven't seen anything besides 24th, 25th, 38th, 39th, 40th man shuffling. That's kind of what I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think he's probably decent at that. But as far as building, like actually taking a team and drafting, developing, and promoting, foundation pieces to a championship caliber team, if it's there, I haven't seen it yet. That's all I'll say. And maybe it's there. Maybe it's not. I haven't seen it yet. But this is year 4. I would have thought we'd have some, some walls put up, some structure, some rhubarb, a roof.
Well, Larry, don't you think if you're Larry Bear and you're coming off the 2017-18 seasons and you see that your farm system's depleted and that you're needing to go through a rebuild, in your interview process, one of your first questions is we're kind of in a rebuild. What's your experience rebuilding an organization would be one of the top questions. What has Farhan ever done prior to the
Giants organization even say rebuild?
I mean, reload, whatever you want to call it.
If you can't say it, you can't. If you can't say it, you sure as hell can't do it. I would like to see, instead of going with a Farhan, how about somebody who's done it before?
Exactly.
John Hart, Pat Gillick. You know what I mean? Maybe some guys who have actually done it. That would be nice. Like if you told me, hey, I need to run a marathon. I need to have somebody run it for us. Let's get somebody from Kenya who's actually run marathons.
Yeah.
Let's not just get my buddy and tell him to lose 15 pounds and take a shot. Let's get somebody who's actually done it. And then I'd feel better about, it's like anything else. It's like you're going to hire a contractor to build your house. And how many houses have you built? Well, I've never actually built a house, but I put together a chair and a table last week. All right, what the hell? Let's give you a house and see how you do. No,
hey, welcome, Greg. You want to become a member, Greg Dayton?
What's that?
Does Greg Dayton want to become a member?
Let's see.
Look at the comments.
See down here at the bottom?
Yeah. Thanks, Greg. Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
$4.99 membership for you.
Greg.
Go pound sand, Greg. Come on.
Greg will disappear from the chat in 3, 2, 1. Bye, Greg. Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome. That there are people out there that unless you're going to just drink the Kool-Aid and say what everybody else is saying, that it's like, oh my God, you must be eradicated. You must be eradicated. If you're not just going to sit there and say, hey, a lot of this is out of his hands and go get him next year. If you have anything more critical to say than that, then we will fight back. Anyway, it's just a tough situation for the Giants right now. you would love to. I would love to. You think we want to be sitting here saying that, man, I don't know if Farhan's the right guy. Man, I don't know if Gabe's the right guy. No, that's not advancing my cause to say that I think that the GM, who everybody's kissing up to, is smart but maybe ineffective, and that the manager who's still wearing his outside land wristband is, I don't know, not up for the task. But in reality, Farhan's never done this before, and Kapler has managed now 5 years. Is that what it is?
Yep.
And he has the 107 win season and a bunch of years right at 500.
Yep. 4 of them. 80%, 500.
So is he what he is? Is Kapler the manager that he's been most of the time, or is he the manager that he was last year? Is he this awesome, incredible, greatest manager in the league, record-setting manager that we saw in 2021, or is he the guy that finished roughly 500 in Philadelphia both years and is roughly 500 right now?
I'm read.
I don't know. I don't know the answer
from Tim. Gosh, why did I just draw a blank?
Kawakami.
No.
Ryan.
No, our third base coach, former third base coach, Flannery. Jimmy Flannery.
Oh, okay.
And he was telling a funny story about how he ended up managing one game because
we all heard it.
Out, and then Wotus got thrown out, and then he's telling. But as I was reading that, I was saying, those are dudes. Those are the guys. Wotus, Bochy, Flannery, Righetti, all those guys. You just want to go to bat for those guys because they're ballers and they got passion. And I just want baseball people. I am tired of analytical computer nerds running the ship. Joe Madden just came out the other day, an article said that today's managers, he would be interested in managing again.
They're not managers. He said they're middle managers.
Right. But he would not want to go with many organizations because he said it would be better if one of those geeks in the front office just put a uniform on and came down and managed the club because they're calling the shots. And I think that's what may be happening. Maybe Gabe is not as bad. I don't know. But he's taking the orders and he's running all these changes and switch hitting guys and batting different guys and putting Austin Wynns in the lineup and putting Lamont Wade at first or second in the batting order. Is this what the analytics say? I've had it. I mean, just give me baseball men. Give me true guys that are baseball men.
I mean, the whole thing about that is like, it's Farhan's roster. I don't know if it's Farhan to blame or Gabe. And at the end of the day, I really don't care. I really don't care whose fault it is. I don't. It doesn't matter because it doesn't matter who's making the call. All that matters is the guy who's managing is the manager and the guy who's the general manager is the general manager. If you don't want to blame the man, to me, it's like you can blame them both or you can blame either one. But you can't, I guess, blame one. The one thing that you can't do is you can't say it's Gabe, but not Farhan. It's Farhan, but not Gabe. No. They're either both to blame. They're both to blame, right? I mean, it's.
But neither one of them are walking around.
Nobody gets a free ride on this one.
Right. And neither one
Nor
of them.
should they.
If you look at their way they carry themselves, neither one seems to have a care about worry about losing their jobs. They seem pretty secure. And I think that's what's going on is this club the organization's been turned over to Farhan, and it's kind of like there's no sweat. We're just going to roll with this. We're going to make this. And I don't see any fire under the Giants ownership group to light a fire and say, we're not going to settle for this kind of garbage in San Francisco. We're going to put a competitive product out there. There's not one reason why the Giants should ever fail to be in a pennant race. I mean, really in the race. when I say pennant, I'm talking wild card, with 3 extra teams. You're talking 6 out of 15 teams, and you can write off about 7 or 8 of those every year. Just, you just go look at Colorado, the Cubs, Miami, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. I mean, they're not going to contend. Okay. So you're looking, and they are.
There's only a half dozen teams that are even trying to contend.
Yeah. It's pathetic. A 5th team in all of baseball of revenue is having a hard time trying to squeak into a wild card. That's just ridiculous. It's not something.
What do you think of this one? J Stamps 101. Is there any manager that can win with this Giants team, though? Putting it all on Farhan. Yeah, no. I mean, I would say no, but then we've got this one, Robert Rothberg, and this is as tired as the day is long. No one complained about Kapler last year. Well, we could play that game every day, I mean, there's a lot of things we thought last year that this year we kind of know differently. So it's,
certain things
change, things evolve, our opinions evolve. I don't know what else to say about that. They won 107 last year. It was an amazing thing. But now we're kind of asking the question. We've seen, it's like we're getting more of the picture as we go. I mean, the people thought Jim Harbaugh was a genius when they went to the Super Bowl. By the end of his run, they were like, God, this guy's exhausting. Get him the hell out of here. Like, well, he's 44-19. Yeah, but he was 8-8 this year. So it's all about what have you done for me lately? That's for sure. I don't know. I mean, I agree with your sentiment though, Robert, is that, yeah, last year, nobody complained about Kapler, but people complained about Kapler in Philly.
Yeah.
When they went 500 with Bryce Harper and a big payroll and then went 500 again,
Well, after a while, don't you think like the back of your baseball card generally tells a story over a career? Like Brandon Crawford, we know he's a great shortstop and he's having a rough year, but he gets the benefit of the doubt because for 10 years, he's been an incredible Giant. And he's had, last year was a tremendous year above his career average, but he's been pretty consistent. We know what to expect from Crawford, and we can live with Brandon Crawford because he's one of the best shortstops ever to play the game, as far as defensively and offensively. You know what you're going to get with Gabe. You're kind of starting to need what you're going to get. 80% of his seasons has been 500. He had one great season. And I'm starting to think maybe this guy just keeps a steady pace. He doesn't get too high, too low, and everything's even keeled. And that's kind of what you get. You get an average team. You got they can't go in and sweep Detroit. They can't go in and win 2 or 3 in Colorado. They can't win 3 or 4 against Arizona. Earlier in the season, they couldn't beat Detroit and the White Sox when they were in San Francisco. This is a mark of a team that is either given up
swept
or
the Dodgers. They swept the Dodgers in the series. I mean, I hear you. Any series, it's baseball. Anything can happen in an individual series. But overall,
I'm talking about streaks. There's periods
overall,
of time
you got to look at the total picture.
Right. Total picture.
The total picture. The total picture is he's a 500 guy who had a great year in 2021.
Right.
Kyle McKiernan says, honestly, I'm not a Kapler fan. The entire team last year was so on fire, there could be no bad moves. It was a smokescreen. Kapler isn't a good manager. I wish it was Bochy with the analytics. I don't know. I don't know how the players feel about Kapler. I don't know. I'd love to know though. I'd love to know what Belt thinks of him, what Crawford thinks of him, what the veterans in the room think of him, and how it's worn over time. I'd love to know. UNC Panther Sports. Giants could be a playoff team. Are we talking about the New York Giants? What team are we talking about? Shante Ortega. Larry, did you get a haircut? Looks like you got a fresh fade. think it's just the angle of I left the door open today, so I think it's just the angle of the sun. I did get a little fade about a week ago. You like that? Little side fade.
There we go.
Aerodynamic. I do like to keep it tight, especially in the summertime. You got to remember this. Your boy grew up in the Sunset District.
I'm having pizza here, by the way.
Your boy, nobody eats more than Dan, by the way. God, do you not eat at all until the show starts?
Mm-hmm.
But I grew up in the fog belt. So now I'm out in the creek and it's hot. It is freaking hot. Seriously, if I could shave every hair off my head, I would do it. I mean, seriously, it's hot. It's really hot. So, well, see, that's what makes me not do it. I don't want that shine. I don't want that glimmer. But no, I did get the fade a few days ago, maybe about a week ago now, and it's highlighted.
Any 49er news? I mean, we kind of beat this Giant crap to death.
Yeah, no, the Giant thing is beaten to death. The 49, there is some 49er news. The 49ers are, of course, getting ready to cut down their roster, and we don't know who's going to stay and who's going to go. We don't know what's going to happen with Garoppolo. I will say this. I have a wager with one of the media members down in Ninerland. I said, Brock Purdy's going to make the roster. And this guy was like, no, he ain't. They're going to waive him. And I said, oh my God. And I really kind of felt like I was taken advantage of, because it was after they had just practiced. And I saw the same thing he saw, which was Brock Purdy got no run, right? He got no reps, 0 reps that I saw. He got so few reps that he was playing catch with Tay Martin on the sideline. So as soon as the practice is over, one of the media guys comes up to me and is like, Krueg, he's a lock to make the roster? I said, in my mind, he is. I've seen enough. There's no doubt I would put Brock Purdy on the roster. There's no doubt I would not expose him to waivers. There's no doubt that he would be taken if you expose him to waivers. And why would you want a quarterback that you drafted with the last pick in the draft? You could have, if you didn't really want the guy, you could have just tried to get him as an undrafted free agent. Somebody in your scouting department wanted that guy.
Right.
So now suddenly you go from I wanted that guy to he plays his ass off. He looks awesome in the preseason. He looks like a veteran quarterback. He looks totally unflappable. And now you don't want him because you have Nate Sudfeld, I mean. Come
Think
on,
about it, Larry.
And I like Nate Sudfeld. Don't get me wrong. I like Nate Sudfeld, but I'm just saying it's not like you got Young in Montana. You've got Trey, who's very young, and you've got Sudfeld, who also is really young. This is actually kind of your veteran quarterback in the room. This is the guy who's played the most football. This is the guy who probably knows the most when you watch the film. This is the most advanced quarterback you have.
It really is. He's more advanced in college than Brady.
Well, it's funny though. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, let's wager. I think he's going to be on the team. And I'll put my money where my mouth is. It's $1. So it's not like I could always borrow it from Danny if I really was down on my luck.
There you go.
Stop by. Maybe Danny could sell some of his completes outside the 55 and over club, and I could get that money. No, but ultimately it really comes down to, is he going to be on the roster now? Now, it's easy to say after, it's 2 days before the cut down day and he's getting no reps that he's not going to be on the team. So I kind of was like a little aggravated by that, right? Because I was like, okay, all right, yes, you're the beat writer who's seen the same picture 27 years in a row. I'm the radio guy who's down here for the first time seeing this. And so there are norms that you've seen in the past that make you think that Purdy's going through waivers. But I'll put my personnel evaluation skills up against your beat writer experience. And I'll call rank and say, no, I'm right. You're wrong. He's going to make the team. So we have a little bit of a wager. I won't say who it is, but we have a little bit of a wager on that. And I just think that they're going to play Sudfeld and Lance in practice because that's probably their top 2 guys. But man, I think after reading John Lynch's quotes where he went on the radio, I saw it on NBC Sports Bay Area. he seemed to make it sound like, he's that Purdy's been outstanding and that he's done everything that he possibly can do to make the roster. And that sometimes you treat quarterbacks differently when it comes to roster spots and exposing them to waivers than you do with other spots in your football team. So I'm using those comments as fuel for my optimistic view that the Niners will not put Brock Purdy on waivers and say, Seattle, you want him? Here he is. Browns, you want him? Here he is. I don't see Nick Mullins. I see a better player than Nick Mullins. I see a guy who's, kind of a poor man's Kirk Cousins, maybe. Maybe
the only not if he was 6'2" or 3,
he's about
6'3"
and change.
Yeah, if he was 6'3", it wouldn't even be an argument. I mean, it wouldn't be even debatable. But to me, he reminds me a little bit of a Drew Brees type in that he's very smart.
Reminds me of Brady, Drew Brees.
Doesn't have the great arm strength, but he has the nowhere to put it, great accuracy, great touch, and he just looks like a football player.
Well, and Lynch said, he quoted Shanahan. He said that, that Purdy will let it rip in a short area. That he when he sees it well. He's decisive. He's done the mental reps. He knows where to go with the football, and he'll let it rip. What I see is a guy where the ball. See, here's the thing about playing quarterback. It's not like you can only be late, and it's like if you're early, you get credit. It's not like at work. If you're late, you're in trouble. But if you're early, nobody said, "Oh man, they fired my ass." Why? Oh, I was early. I was early all the time. They're like, no, early is a positive in life. But for NFL quarterbacking, early is just as bad as late, right? You don't want to be early. You don't want to be late. You got to be on time. And what I see with this kid is that he is on time.
He's
on time.
From Arizona.
The ball comes out, not early, not late, doesn't throw it behind guys for the most part, doesn't throw it over their head, doesn't throw it into the ground. Ball comes out on time. He throws dimes. He hits you in the hands.
Guy's only going to get better too. He's only going to get better.
Exactly. He's only going to get better. And
I would
smart as hell.
Do whatever you got to do to stash that guy because
exactly.
You can get him through the 53, then you can move him to the practice squad later, right? If then somebody has to want to can't you
interrupt their whole season? Yeah, I'd rather protect him for 2 weeks and expose him to waivers than expose him at the cut down. Why do that when teams are shuffling? You got to remember this too. Yeah, he was the last pick in the draft. So everybody passed on him. It wasn't like but there were other teams that probably had some interest.
Did you read
he must have had
Athletic?
intel or else they wouldn't have taken him.
That was a great article.
That's a good point, right? They probably had some intel that they were not going to necessarily be able to land him after the draft with just an attractive offer. So they used a pick on him.
Oh, there was a lot of I read an article just I think maybe I even sent that to you. Did you get that article I sent you in the Athletic about Purdy?
I haven't read it through yet, but
very interesting article. The guy, he's from Gilbert, Arizona, right? Just an hour from here, but
he was a 3-star. He wasn't a 5-star or anything, but he was a state championship. He won the state title, I believe.
Yeah, he lost in the state championship to a powerhouse Chandler High, but he was being recruited at the end by Alabama. Some other offers he had. He went to Iowa State just because he felt a real connection with the coach there, and the guy went through a lot of stuff. I mean, he had some real hardships in high school that kind of kept him from getting seen. He was hurt, had a knee injury when they were doing the recruiting, and everybody came out to watch him. And then going into his senior year, he in spring he got a cactus go through his hand, his left hand, or something, and it caused and he wasn't able to. When they came out the recruiters came out, then he kind of missed that. So that's why he wasn't recruited heavily. he was injured when the time came up for guys that were, following these guys.
Here's the other thing too. At the end of the day, I understand, believe me, I understand as well as anybody. The NFL's got, they want everybody to fit in a box. Quarterbacks are 6'2" to 6'6". They're not shorter than 6'2". They're not taller than 6'6". They've got to have a certain this, certain that. You can't play if you're 190, but you can't play if you're 270. I mean, you gotta be like in this mold, right? And I get it. He's a little on the smaller side. So what? Who cares? The guy. It's not a superstars competition. It's not the underwear Olympics. It's football. How good of a football player are you? This guy went to Iowa State and he did nothing but win and produce. The guy completed 71% of his passes in the Big 12. His final year had a better, completion percentage than almost everybody else in all of college football. And he won. And he had like 5 games where he completed like 80% of his passes. And the guy won a lot of games, and he can run, and he's accurate. And he can throw well on the run. GD5 says, I like Purdy a lot. Dude is more athletic than Mullins, much better arm, just as accurate, if not more so. And it's funny, too, because I'll immediately get because I said I liked him. Immediately I get well, you watch one preseason game, and then, no. You watched one preseason game. I watched every practice, every mini camp practice, and about 15 of his college games. Don't tell me you watched one. You watched one preseason game. I've watched this guy for a long, long time. It's kind of like, I was battling with somebody the other day about this, and I almost felt like saying, what do you do for a living? And it's like, find out whatever they do for a living and then just say, oh, yeah, well, I know more than you about what you're doing. No, I don't. Yeah, you're spending all day, every day, and then some for years and years and years. I'll defer to you, Mr. Whatever, realtor, doctor, lawyer, accountant, whatever. There's some learned knowledge over time. Well, I've been looking at pro personnel and college personnel for years, like going back to like 1994, 1993, even before that. So I might see it a little bit differently than you. But anyway, I'm just saying, I don't know everything. And I tried to say this to another guy the other day. I'm like, dude, I'm not a Renaissance man. I'm not Sir Thomas More. I'm not Ralph Barbieri. I'm not conversant on every topic, but I know football personnel. All right. Give me a little bit of credit. And I see a really, really special player here. Now, I understand the 49ers just had a smallish quarterback named Nick Mullins, and he excited a lot of people with some nice preseason performances. And then when push came to shove, he was very limited with no arm strength and no ability to make any plays outside the numbers. And, his warts showed up. Just because that guy and this guy have a similar physical profile does not mean that they are the same guy. And I think people need to remember that. Calba donates $10. If somebody made a trade offer for Brock Purdy before the 53-man cutdown day, what would you take? It's a good question. Everybody's got a price, but I would want a day 2 pick. To me, he's shown that he's worth a day 2 pick. If somebody wants to throw a 2nd or 3rd round pick, I would definitely listen. Other than that, no, I'm not listening. I'd rather have Brock Purdy on my team. Look at it this way. Based on what you've seen, if Trey Lance pulled a hamstring and it's 10-10 in week 5 against the Rams, who do you want playing? You want Sudfeld in there or you want Purdy in there? I'm taking Purdy.
Oh, yeah, I'd take Purdy just because of more
End of discussion. End of discussion.
He ran that 2-minute offense at the end of
which started, by the way, with 2 false starts against 2 offensive linemen. He still found a way to move the team down the field. I think he even had a 4th down pass that he had to complete.
Yeah, didn't they get a field goal out of that?
Yeah. So I'm not saying he's a superstar. I'm just saying.
No, but he looks like a very serviceable backup who could potentially someday be an NFL starter. To me, because when I've watched Drew Brees, I've gone back and looked at Drew Brees' days at Purdue, And I see
another guy 6 feet.
Yeah,
Drew Brees is about 6 feet.
I see a lot of similarities.
What do you think Steve Young was, by the way? Steve Young ain't 6'2". Steve Young's like 6'1" and change. So this kid's more like 6 feet and change.
But I'm serious. You go look back at the college highlights of Drew Brees at Purdue and compare that to Brock Purdy at Iowa State. And there's a lot of similarities mechanic-wise, arm strength, accuracy, mobility. I'm not saying that Brock Purdy's the next Drew Brees at all. But I'm saying is that there is a lot of potential in Brock Purdy. And what you want to look at beyond just a guy's physical skills and stature is you look at the player. Is he a football player? Okay. Because I don't care about 40-yard dash times and combine stats. I look at, can a guy play football? I look at the eye test, because there are guys that do great in combine, do great in practice, and they do nothing in games. And then there's guys that are slow-footed like Tom Brady who are gamers.
Well, you also have to remember this. Every draft produces these guys. There's the guy who's got awesome physical skills who's never done it. Excuse me. Then there's the guy who has marginal physical skills, but a tremendous resume. Well, I'll take, especially at the skill positions, and I consider that to be, or the instinctive positions, which would be like inside backer, safety, the middle of the field, inside backer, safety, quarterback, running back. I'm not scouting guys at those positions with stopwatches. Don't tell me about the fastest running back. Show me the guy with the 1,200 yards.
Yeah, show me
the guy. I don't care about 6'5", 260 with a howitzer. Show me the quarterback that won games in a decent conference. I don't care about the linebacker who's 4'4" and 6'4" and 4'4" speed. And show me the guy who made tackles. I'll take the guy who makes tackles. That guy in Detroit. You guys have been watching Hard Knocks. They're calling him Rodrigo.
Rodrigo
is the Oregon State linebacker, or Oak State linebacker, I should say, who was incredibly instinctive and blew up all kinds of guys and made all kinds of tackles. And he was super productive at Oak State. Now he's in camp with the Lions and he's making tons of plays. And they're like, wow, look at this guy. Yeah, he's 6 feet. He retired early, but Chris Borland was a hell of a linebacker. Chris Borland was like 5'11". Well, why was he so damn good? Because he's a football player. He knew how to play. He knew how to get through the trash. He knew how to pursue. He knew how to diagnose plays. I mean, that's what I see with Purdy too. Is I see a guy who can diagnose what he's seeing, and so he knows where to go with the ball. Yes, and his footwork is like. At the snap, there's no wasted footwork. There's no wasted motion. And he just knows exactly where to go with the ball. And he's putting it on the hands. Man, if you have weapons like Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, Gray, Ray McLeod, all these running backs, in some ways, Brock Purdy's a dream. Because he's going to put the ball in the hands of your skill position guys. So, yeah, do I want Trey? And would I rather have Trey? Yeah, I'd rather have Trey. Why? Because I think you got to have a top 10 athlete, kind of a quarterback to win a Super Bowl. But I love Brock Purdy if it's the second quarter and Trey's got a hamstring, he's got to come out. I would feel very confident putting Purdy in there in that situation because I think he would take care of the football. He understands the clock. He knows the offense. He's accurate. He's going to play within his limitations. His ball's going to get out of his hand on time. He's going to be on time with it. He's going to establish a rhythm. I think he can move the team. That's what it's about. It's about moving the football team.
Yes.
And I think he's already kind of demonstrated he can do that.
Yeah. And, when you're talking instincts, Larry, instincts are such, I think, probably – the number one ingredient, instinct and heart over speed. For example, Austin Slater, center field. He's considered the Giants' fastest player, but he has no instincts out there in center field. His first step is horrible toward a ball, and it's like he misplays balls. I'd rather have a guy that has the instinct to go get the ball with the first step and and track the ball than a guy with just flat out better speed.
AJ Jenkins had 4.31 speed, but he never did crap in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And so we laughed on draft day when Harbaugh and Balky introduced him. It was like, what? You took this guy, he ran 4.31. He played in the Big Ten. He didn't do anything. Sure enough, he was a total bust.
Yeah.
Because it's not a stopwatch test. It's football. You got to be able to run the route. You got to be able to get off the line. There's a certain amount of toughness. You got to have hands. You know what I mean? It's not as simple as, well, height, weight, speed. No, it's not. It's a game of skill.
Yeah. In 1981, the NFL draft, there was 2 defensive backs, All-Americans coming out, both in the Pac-10 at the time, Kenny Easley of UCLA and Ronnie Lott. Kenny Easley was on every magazine, greatest safety ever, right?
And he was great. He was great.
But I wanted Lott because Lott was a gamer. And the Lott fell to the Niners at number 8. Kenny Easley went number 4 to Seattle. Had a pretty good NFL career, but not Hall of Fame. Ronnie Lott is considered probably the greatest defensive back in the NFL history.
That's a Dion.
I'd take Lott over Dion.
Well,
Lott
safety, corner.
Different
I think
position.
he's the greatest safety of all time.
Yeah.
Though every time I say that to my kid, he brings up Ed Reed. I'm like, Ed Reed?
Ronnie Lott changed the game because of his intimidation. Guys would come over the middle and drop balls just because they knew Lott was going to.
He was the best. If you don't, he hit like a linebacker and covered like a corner.
Yeah,
that's why he was the best.
And he was just a tremendous. But see, this is what I'm getting at when you look at intangibles. You want guys like Brady, like Aaron Rodgers, guys that have this fire in them that pushes them beyond, and Ronnie Lott. And I am saying that a guy like Brock Purdy, who's been kind of looked down upon through high school, through college, now at pros, these are the guys that step up because they have all the others, but with that other things like accuracy, instinct. But when they have that fire that they want to, they're going to prove themselves because no one else believes in them. Those are the guys that make it big. And I would not pass up on a Brock Purdy because you could have yourself a guy that if Trey went down and you have him for a couple of years, he's the kind of guy that can lead your team still to a Super Bowl. And that's what you want in a backup. You don't want a guy that's, when the 49ers had Steve Young and Joe Montana, it was like 1A, 1B. You had 2 great quarterbacks. That's what you want. You want that. And it's hard to find. Only maybe 2 or 3 teams a year have that. That's it. The rest of the league has pretty much a backup that is you don't want playing more than a couple games.
It's just we'll see. I just look at quarterback different than these other guys. To me, it's like if you find a quarterback, you don't let him get away.
Yeah, I see a lot of intangibles in Purdy because I watched him very close. And what I did after the game against Minnesota, I went back and looked at his college stuff because I want to see his, and what I saw was a guy that, never quit, led Iowa State to some great comeback wins, fourth quarter wins, very accurate, and a guy that actually has you'd think he looks kind of slow, but he's not terribly slow. He's got some good agility and ability to move around the pocket.
He had a better 40 time than Jimmy.
Pocket awareness is huge, and I think that's what's going to make a difference for the Niners this year is Trey Lance. When I watch him, he has really good pocket awareness. He knows when to step up and avoid the rush, and then he's still looking downfield, but he's got the ability to still get 7-8 yards if he has to run. And I think that's going to be the huge difference in the Niners offense this year. You watch and see what happens.
It's the late in the down throws that Jimmy couldn't make. that Trey's going to be able to buy himself an extra maybe 2 or 3 seconds by getting out of the pocket with quickness.
Yeah.
And then he's going to keep his eyes posted down the field.
Right.
And Ayuk or Debo or Gray or one of these guys is going to free himself up, and Trey's going to throw a bullet, down the field, and it's going to be a big play.
I think, and I don't know if I'm jumping out on a limb out here, but I do think he's going to surprise people even early on because I think the key to him having success is just like you said, Larry, move the ball, don't make crazy mistakes. If the throw's not there, just tuck it and take a 5-6 yards run and get down. Don't try and make the 20-yard run.
Don't take on Isaiah Simmons like we saw last year at the goal line.
Just get down.
Just slide down.
Just keep moving the ball.
Move on to the next play. Yeah, exactly.
And they will be very successful if Trey stays within himself. And I think that's what Kyle's really training him to become that. And he's a pass, Trey can run. If you look at his North Dakota State, he can run like crazy, but he's more of a pass first quarterback. He looks to throw.
He's not Lamar. He's not Vic. He's not even Steve Young. He's more like Mahomes.
Yeah. When I saw him,
McNair, the late Steve McNair.
Yeah. I think Trey is going to be, because of his tools around him. I mean, you're talking 5-star guys around him, all around him. I mean, the offensive, Trent Williams, I said the other day, Kittle, Ayuk's, Debo, Mitchell.
I mean,
Wilson.
Here's the thing, that Dan, I hate to be this guy, but at this point, I feel like I got to pour a little bit of cold water on both Purdy and Trey just to take a little bit of the other stance. Like, first of all, with Trey, if Trey, we all agreed this is the most talented roster the Niners have had. This is probably the weakest NFC the Niners have been in. If Trey does what you're saying, the Niners are going to be 14-3 and win the Super Bowl.
Well, I have them 13-4. But
so that, I mean, I guess that tracks if you really believe that. But and then when it comes to Purdy, I like Purdy, and I'm not like a Purdy. I'm by no means a Purdy hater, but also, I mean, I don't know. He was a good pick. He was a good draft backup. I like that he's cheap, but I mean, I don't see him personally. I don't think he'll ever be as good as Jimmy Garoppolo, who's a lot of people dislike.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
He's got a better, I'll say this, he's better at the same point.
Oh, yeah.
And yet,
a rookie.
And yet Garoppolo went in the second round,
right,
and this guy went in the 7th round. But in my opinion, he's better. He was a better college player than Jimmy was. He won more. He had a higher completion percentage. He played more. He had a higher quarterback rating. He's got a faster 40 time. Basically very similar body types. Jimmy's a little taller, a little bit better athlete overall. But I would just say, Jimmy had a little bit better vertical. Jimmy's just a little bit bigger, stronger athlete.
What is it, Brock Purdy in 20?
I think he was way better than Jimmy, to be honest, because you got to remember this. He won more and had better numbers playing against a significantly better caliber of competition than what Jimmy faced at Eastern Illinois. So he had better numbers. Purdy had better numbers, but the reason that Purdy went in the 7th round is because Jimmy was slightly in the profile of what you want a quarterback to be, and Purdy slightly outside of that profile. And that's how WED NFL personnel people typically are to that profile. I know I've seen teams where they literally will not take a corner who's not 5'10". If he's 5'9" and change, no. I mean, think about that for a second. That's crazy talk. Why is it crazy? I mean, to me, the 49ers got Poe out of Mercer. He's an NFL caliber player. He's short. They got Purdy out of Iowa State. He's an NFL caliber quarterback who I think you can win with. He's short. Jermichael Hasty's a damn good running back, I think. He's short. I just think when in the NFL, when you really look at Sam Mills just went to the Hall of Fame, the late Sam Mills, he was short. If you're going to find value, the NFL's, the athleticism is so off the charts that it's your height, weight, and speed matter, but it's not. What's more important is Like you can find value in the NFL and in the NFL draft, and a lot of it is taking guys who just don't fit the physical profile because of their height. Because I mean, in reality, is Kyler Murray at a disadvantage because of his height? I guess. Is Russell Wilson at a disadvantage because of his height? I guess. But what those guys are, they're other world athletes. They're so it doesn't really matter if he's 5'11". He doesn't play like 5'11". He plays like a guy who's 6'2". He's Russell Wilson. He's going to the Hall of Fame. Kyler, doesn't play like a tiny little guy. He's got a pretty big arm and he can run. And so he doesn't get passes batted down all the time. So I just think that if you really want to look for value in the draft, go find players who are an inch or two beneath the profile and get them, as a steal. I think. Let me ask you
a question.
I do have to push back. Also, I do think that Jimmy had better college stats.
No, he didn't. He had lower completion percentage. He had a lower quarterback rating. He had 53 touchdowns his senior year, which were incredible. He had an incredible senior year. But completion percentage and quarterback rating, I would say, are the two prevalent stats. And Purdy's were better, and he played a better caliber of competition. Right. He played in a Big Five conference, where Jimmy's playing at Eastern Illinois against who's he playing against? He's not playing Nebraska. He's not playing Oklahoma.
Let me ask you guys a question. Yeah, Purdy in 21 was 71%, almost 72% passing. And he had 19 TDs and 8 interceptions. Let me ask you this. If the 2021 Alabama football team with Mac Jones, that was basically Jones's first full season, got some time at the end of the 2020 season. If you replaced and had Brock Purdy in that lineup, would he been able to do what Mac Jones did at Alabama?
No.
What do you think, Larry?
If you put Purdy at Bama,
yeah,
could he have done what Mac Jones did?
Yeah, with all those players in that line.
I think he could have. Now, he doesn't have a big time deep arm, but even the deep pass that he threw to Danny Gray, he put on Danny Gray's hands. Now, he was out of bounds by a foot or two, but it wasn't like it was woefully off target. I haven't seen, let's just say this. I watched him every pass in minicamp that I saw, every pass that I've seen in training camp. I haven't seen Purdy miss the way Trey misses 3, 4, 5 times a practice.
Yeah, that's true.
He doesn't miss wildly. He throws a very catchable ball. He hits guys in stride. He can hit guys on the run. How about that pass play that he made in the game where he moved out of the pocket under pressure, found Danny Gray going towards the sidelines, hit him in the hands, and Gray dropped it.
Yeah,
that was a phenomenal play. If Trey Lance makes that play, people are talking about it to this minute. Instead, Gray doesn't make the catch, and nobody thinks anything of it. That was a tremendous throw. What were you saying? You're saying that Jimmy had better stats. What stats are you looking at that make you think he's better?
I mean, he won the Walter Payton Award. That's pretty big. And I don't know. I mean, I know he's his completion.
He had a great senior year.
His completion percentage wasn't as good, but 66% when you're throwing that much more. And he had almost 8.9 yards per attempt, and 53 touchdowns to 9 picks is pretty insane.
I mean, to me, that was the one thing about Trey. Was hey, how much credence do you put in his stats? He was FCS. And so it's I mean, that's a different level than the Big 12.
Tough. But he did break all of Tony Romo's records. Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy has good numbers. Don't get me wrong. I just think that when you really look at you looked at the situation, I think Purdy to me seems like he's accurate, and he seems like he's on time. That's what I see.
And I agree. I completely agree with that.
I just think that ultimately too, Calba says it would be terrible if we tried to stash Purdy on the practice squad. Another team picked him up as a number 3 quarterback. The position is the most important in all of sports. It's worth keeping instead of a 10th defensive back. I was trying to make that point to somebody the other day. It's like somebody's like, "Who's your third tight end?" Who the hell cares?
Yeah. Are we able to play some highlights from a blog of old college highlights?
From
just somebody's blog that put out.
But from what player? And
Purdy. I could show you 3 minutes of some as a sophomore. This is a guy.
Sure. Sure.
I'll send it to you right now, Ryan.
Okay.
Coming to your phone, just yours, right?
Okay.
GD5 says Doug Flutie was maybe 5'8". Dude could play though. That would tell you when I was doing defensive quality control in the Canadian League, and we're playing Calgary, and I'm looking at a Calgary film, and Doug Flutie. This was like one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. Doug Flutie snapped the ball on his own 5-yard line, got rushed, ran 18 yards into the end zone. Now the end zone in college in Canada is bigger. He runs 18 yards into the end zone. He's almost 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He then proceeds to run a figure 8 all through he ran the distance for a touchdown after retreating 18 yards deep off of the then he ran like 118 yards or whatever it was for a touchdown.
Wow.
Never seen anything like it. I mean, this guy was just unbelievable. Doug Flutie, though, was a small guy with a howitzer. He had a tremendous arm. Calba says Jimmy played in an FCS school. You know, that's one major difference. GD5 says go turn on that Cyclones tape on Brock. The dude was a really good college player. GD5, Larry, do you think Taylor Hawkins makes the team? I think Taylor Hawkins, Tarvarius Moore are probably battling for one spot. I like Hawkins a little bit, but Moore is an NFL caliber athlete. Hawkins has more of a feel for the ball. And is not quite an NFL caliber athlete. I mean, he's a lesser NFL caliber athlete than Tarvarius. I don't think either of those guys is going to make the team, to be totally honest with you. Well, I think there's 4 safeties are going to be Jimmy Ward, Hufanga, Tayshaun Gibson, who they just signed up from. He played with Chicago last year. He played in Jacksonville. He's got 27 career interceptions. Gibson does. So he's great at covering the tight end, and he's a high percentage interceptor. So I think Gibson, Hufanga, Jimmy Ward, and George Odom are the 4 safeties. And then I think that 5th player is going to be Quantrez Knight.
Look at this rollout
Quantrez Knight gets that
he escapes, and then he fires
spot
downfield. This is as a sophomore. I mean, I'm seeing a guy who, just got lots of experience from playing 40, almost 50 games.
Right. Or dive to the turf for it. That's what when I see Jimmy, Jimmy is not accurate. Jimmy sprays it all over the place. He's accurate on one pass. He's totally inaccurate on the next pass. He doesn't see it. He'll flick it at the right, he'll have a nice little flick where he flick of the wrist and it looks good, but then there'll be 2 other plays where he just doesn't see the defender. He doesn't have an account of the defenders. So to me, Purdy sees it. He sees it. I think he's, think about what we're talking about here. One guy's a rookie
coming out of college. But you're saying right now, even?
I personally, there's no doubt that Purdy is the better player at the same point. But I mean, now Jimmy, of course, is a veteran. He's 30. But I mean, look at the accuracy on that. But, we're talking about ball fakes. We're talking about a guy who sees it, plays with tempo, plays under control. And is he tiny? No, he's like 6 feet and change. And he's, the book on him is that he's kind of tough. You saw that hit that he took. I mean, that was probably the dumbest play he had, was that hit that he took. That was a monster hit, but it's like, in some ways it was like, hey, you know what, guys? You think I'm small? You think I can't take a hit? I'll put this on film. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna watch a linebacker, absolutely step up into the hole and smoke me, and I'm gonna jump right back up. So you know what I like too is the guy didn't miss any time. Garoppolo's had injuries, a ton of injuries. This guy didn't miss any time at Iowa State. He just always played. So is he small? Yeah, but does he showed up for the games? I don't know. I'm a huge proponent, and as I said, I've got a wager on this one. So we'll see how it goes. And I understand that people are like, dude, you're getting over excited about a backup quarterback. I don't think he's a backup quarterback. I think he's got NFL starter potential. I really do. Now he lacks a little bit of arm strength, but it's not Mullins like. He's not rag arm. And we watched him throw on the run. We watched him. He throws well on the run. I've watched these drills in minicamp and in training camp. He masters every single drill. He looks better than Trey and better than Sudfeld in all of these drills. He's more under control. His ball is coming out catchable. He's throwing strikes. So I'm not sure what anybody else has been watching out there, but just people forget, or people they actually kind of watch, and it's all about, like, if everybody switched numbers, I kind of wonder if people would know what they're watching. You know what I mean? It's like it's almost like, hey, you know what? I know this guy, and so I'm gonna scout, how this guy looks. Forget who that guy is and just tell me what you see. What do you see? And what I see is a guy who plays totally on time and under control. So I don't know. I see Jimmy, it depends what you got out of that NFC division playoff game. A lot of people look at that and we're like, man, that was Jimmy at his finest. Other people, like myself, go, that was Jimmy at his luckiest. He threw 2 or 3 passes in that game that should have been pick sixes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that weren't.
That
just weren't. Now, he lucked out, but doesn't mean that doesn't catch up with him at some point. I mean, those were pick sixes. He literally put it in the defender's hand on the sideline, and the defender just dropped it. And there are people that watch that game who claim to know a lot about football who are like, yeah, I played Aaron Rodgers. What? No, Aaron Rodgers was almost flawless in that game. Flawless.
It's more just
the better team.
Also, I guess I give him a little bit of slack just because he had the shoulder and the finger in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we'll see where it goes. GD5. I forgot about Quantrez Knight. Yeah, he looked good in camp too. Apparently, it's funny. His dad, Tommy Knight, follows us on social media and liked that I had Quantrez on my final 53. Tony D says, Ryan, as of now, there's only 7 teams showing in the Krueg number 2 league.
Yep.
Is that true?
Yeah, we're just waiting on people to hop in there.
So we will have a full league, and if we don't have a full league, we'll come up with a full league on by Sunday when we do draft.
I'm going to show everybody that's bolded has already accepted the invite.
So my son is going to be in it. Oh, he did. Yeah. He's bold. Okay.
He's bold.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys in the second league that have yet to kind of RSVP. Danny and me have not RSVP'd. Is that what it says?
We're supposed to RSVP?
Or yeah, you just got to accept the I'll send you. I'll send it again to you guys.
Okay.
I didn't see anything. Yeah.
Tasio Basurga, get me in. There are a lot of people that want to be in the fantasy league. And then basically we're going to do it Sunday night. It's going to be on Yahoo. We're going to invite you to everybody are we going to invite everybody, or are we going to invite just certain people? I mean, now we got a lot of people. We're going to invite all those people to our live stream. That's a lot of people in the live stream.
It's a lot of people. I mean, maybe just maybe just have them watch. I don't know. I mean, honestly, maybe if you want to be part of it, my guess is only 25% of the people would want to be on camera anyway.
Yeah. Well, how about this? If you would like to be in the live stream, maybe let us know that. Is there a way they can let us know that?
Yeah, same thing. Send to my email or text, say, I'd like to be part of the live stream.
Gotcha. All right, guys, good stuff today. I think that's going to do it for us. Let's play the commercials right here. We'll be back with a few more last thoughts on the Krueg Show. Larry Krueger here for Telmetrics. Thanks to Casey Bateman and the good people at Telmetrics. If you're an occupational therapist, if you're an orthopedic surgeon, a chiropractor, a physical therapist of any kind, Telmetrics is designed for you to use in your practice and will greatly benefit your patients. Telmetrics uses computer vision and artificial intelligence and provides a platform for outpatient rehab therapy services, both in the clinical and the telehealth environments. So using Telmetrics can improve your patient's experience and much more. So for all your sports injury needs, or if you're a physical rehabilitation specialist of any kind, make sure you use telmetrics.co, TELMETRIX.co. And thanks to Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics for being a proud sponsor of the Krueg. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Dan Coccimilgio. Dan is a buddy, and he is a phenomenal retirement planning specialist, and you can contact him today at securemoney.com or at his number 925-628-9966. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world right now, and you want to make sure that your money is secure. That is the key. Danny's got 25 years of experience, born and raised right here in the Bay Area, and he can help you get an immediate 10% premium bonus on your principal retirement account. So give him a call, 925-628-9966. He'll make an appointment with you, and you can sit down. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of a deal. He'll consult with you and come up with a strategy to get you going to where you want to be. Once again, 925-628-9966, securemoney.com on the web. And thanks to Dan Coccimilgio and all the people at Secure Money for being proud sponsors of the Krueg Show. And thanks to Tony Cassera and the good people at Cassera's Italian Menswear. They are housing the Krueg Show t-shirts, and they're a proud sponsor of the show as well. The Krueg Show t-shirt, the Krueg Show podcast t-shirt is available there at their store in Dublin. Their address is 7372 San Ramon Road in Dublin, California. And go see Tony Cassera and get yourself a Krueg Show t-shirt and support the show. And special thanks to our sponsor, New York Style Italian Sausage. That's right, NewYorkStyleSausage.com is their website. Phenomenal product, whether it's the breakfast sausage, the Italian mild, the Italian spicy, the chorizo. You cannot go wrong with New York Style Italian Sausage. Once again, NewYorkStyleSausage.com. Often imitated, never equaled.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner. That means no matter how busy you were, no matter where the hell you were, you came to dinner on a Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday dinner without sausage, it's like a church without God. You know, how can you go to church if you don't believe in God? You know, and along with the sausage also became the discussions. That was discussion night. You know, it wasn't a typical family that you sit there and you're quiet, you know, and you don't talk with a mouthful. Oh, no, man. Italians talk when they're eating. Italians even talk when they're sleeping. And definitely we talk with our hands. So if we can't express it through our mouth, through our lips, we express it with our hands. So, and that's what sausage is, really. It's an expression, you know, that life is good.
So New York Style Sausage was started over 70 years ago. We are the largest producer of fresh Italian sausage on the West Coast.
What makes our sausage in New York style is really the recipe came from back east, from New York, you know, from Connecticut.
If you look at all of our labels, there's maximum 4 or 5 ingredients, which we're really proud of.
There's no preservatives, no MSG, fresh in, fresh out.
the pork comes in fresh, goes out fresh. There's never any freezing throughout the process. We've always used fine quality cuts. We're never going to deter from that. It's one of the reasons why our sausage is so good. I guarantee you put our sausage up against anybody else's from a flavor standpoint, no one will beat it, hands down.
And do yourself a favor and do me a favor. Go buy a package of the New York style Italian sausage. Guaranteed you will love it. Guaranteed.
All right, welcome back to the Krueg Show. A couple final thoughts before we call it a day as on the live stream here. We're about 2 hours and 15 minutes into the live stream. It's roughly 3:45 in the afternoon. If you're just tuning in, Giants got waxed. It was 6-0 early. It was 6-0, 6-1, I think was the final. Giants lose in Detroit. Where they won a World Series not that long ago. Couple things I do want to mention here. One, we're getting confirmation from the good people at New York Style Italian Sausage for Monday's golf tournament. So, gentlemen, you guys will be at Monday's golf tournament, correct?
Wait,
Danny, you're flying up
this Monday?
Yeah, this Monday.
It's the 29th.
Whoa. Yeah, I mean, I'm in.
Okay,
It just seems like, whoa, that's so soon.
Yeah. And we're going to be doing the live auction in the evening and playing.
25. Is Larry going to be doing that? Are you going to be 25, 35, 30,
you, me, and Ryan could all share in that. I think that would be pretty fun. But yeah. So that is coming up Monday at San Jose Country Club. So I will confirm with Laura from New York Style Italian Sausage. Also, one of the people that is a big part of our show that nobody ever sees or hears from is our good friend Casey Bateman, who is the CEO in charge of Telmetrics.co, and they've been a sponsor with us, just like Danny, since the beginning. And I know Casey had a family tragedy this week. And Casey, we love you, brother. We're thinking of you. We're thinking of your family. And I know it's been a rough week for you, but we're thinking about you, and we're big fans of you. So hopefully everything goes well with your family, and our condolences for your family loss that you suffered this week. So Casey, we're with you. And then Joe Bertolucci is a big fan of the show. And Joe sent me a thing saying that he went to the doctor today and that he's got some blocked arteries. And so he's got to go to the hospital again soon for a heart surgery. And usually our show really, fires him up and brightens his evenings and cheers him up when he's having hard days. But he just wanted, everybody who's a bit, who knows Joe, to know that he's fighting the good fight. He will be doing some kind of heart surgery here coming up. He said, not even your show today can cheer me up at this time. So Joe, we're thinking about you, brother. We absolutely are. And our thoughts and prayers go out to you, and keep fighting. You're a fighter, and we appreciate you. Appreciate you being a fan of the show. Appreciate you being such a supporter of the show and such a loyal follower. So absolutely, Joe. Danny, I speak for Danny and for Ryan and for Len and for Casey and for everybody in the chat who may know Joe or knows him via Twitter. Joe, you're in our prayers. You're absolutely in our prayers, and stay strong. And Jim Molay says he loves the Krueg Show family shout outs, but yeah, then that's what this is about on a lot of levels. And YouTube expert says, stay strong, boss, to Joe Bertolucci. So Joe, we're thinking about you, brother, and hopefully nothing but good thoughts. And as I said, hopefully you will have the incredible strength that you need to get through this tough time, and this too shall pass, and you'll be back at home, in a healthier state, enjoying many, many more Krueg shows in the years to come. So, but thank you for sharing that personal information with us. Guys, just a kind of a final walkthrough on the chat. Kyle says, love those sausages, fresh in and fresh out. We got this one from Shante. He says, can't wait to visit New York, Connecticut. Kyle says, sausage, yes. Shante Ortega, you guys gonna have a great time at the sausage tee-off. You guys, yeah, we are gonna have a great time. We're gonna eat lots of sausage and talk.
Are we playing?
Here's the thing. I am working 9 to noon, so I will not be playing right at 9, but I'm coming as soon as I'm done. I'm going to be filling in Monday with Mark Willard on 95.7 The Game. So after the show on Monday, I will get in my car and drive down there, and I'll be there for the afternoon. I don't know if they're going to let me walk on and play. They probably are going to start a little earlier than that to play, but I'll confirm all that. If you guys wish to play or don't wish to play, let me know. I will speak to her tomorrow and we'll iron out all the details, but we are going to be there for the most important thing is the dinner and the auction. What's that?
Is it foursome best ball?
I believe it is best ball. Why does that change your outlook?
I'm not a great driver, so I'm a pretty good at my short game, chipping and
I know. Well, here's the thing, Dan. Like, if because I'm down to play, but I'm very inexperienced. Like,
doesn't matter.
Then who would be our other two?
Well, believe me, she'll. You guys are celebs, man. They'll put you guys with some of the sausage, sausage
Kings.
People.
The big sausages.
Yeah, it might be you and Dr. Fennel. Who knows? Not to be confused with Dr. Fentanyl, but Dr. Fennel.
Much friendlier.
I'll be here all month. Tip your waitresses, 2 drink minimum. Okay, so
fennel is in root beer. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. Kyle Martinez says, "Can we get videos of Dan's short game? Can you putt, Danny?"
I can putt and I can chip, but driving, man, I used to be a good driver in my 20s. I used to drive it straight and pretty far, a couple 100 yards. Now it's like everything. I can't even. It's just awful. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's my neck surgery and stuff, all that stuff. But I'm like pretty bad off.
I love playing these golf tournaments because I'm the kind of guy that, if it's 18 holes and let's say you bust out the driver 12, 13 times, I'll definitely come up with 5 or 6 great drives. Now, I'm going to come up with
the best part.
I'm going to come up with 7 or 8, worm burners or duffs it or power fades or nasty hooks or I'm hardly consistent. But where my game sucks is the short iron game. My 2 iron, my 3 iron, my 4 iron, my 5 iron, my 6 iron, my 7 iron. I'm a circus. Now I can hit my 8, I can hit my 9, I can hit my wedges.
That's me.
I can putt, I can drive, but I can't hit I can't hit basically any irons.
Yeah, I'm not very great at irons too. One of the things funny, I played in a best ball tournament back in Connecticut. This was probably late 90s. And we had some guys were, let's see, I'm gonna go around this tree because he says and he hits a low worm, takes his 7 iron and just hits a shot and then it curves and or maybe it was his 5 iron, but it was like, how did he do that? And
there's really good players. We played with this guy who was a borderline pro, and he told us on the first tee, he's like, I could just play around where I just use my 5 iron.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
A tin cup.
You're just going to use your 5 iron? He's like, yeah, I'll Texas wedge it. I'll use my 5 iron. I'll putt with my 5 iron. I'll shoot my 5 iron out of the traps. I'll tee off with my 5 iron. And so he proceeded to use just his 5 iron and beat us.
Wow. Ugh. Well, I'm in this tournament and everybody's getting pretty good drives. and we're about on the 16th, 17th hole. And I guess it was a tournament that, I'm just taking everybody's shots and, all right, I'll chip from here. And they go, hey, you got to have one drive. We have to use one of your drives, and we haven't been able to do so far. And I'm like, oh, shoot.
Do it on the par 3.
So I got this one par 5. I couldn't believe it. I hit it. I don't know what happened. I just got a hold of it. It went, and it just kept going and going. And it laid up like within 100 yards of the green. And everybody was just like, whoa, it just rolled and rolled. And so everybody just chipped.
Path.
Yeah. And it just was like, so I finally got one, but
you live in Arizona, Dan. There's no excuse for you not to be good at golf.
I should be golfing a lot more, but I used to golf much more, but I don't now. Haven't golfed for a while, probably a couple years. Yeah. But gee, it's not
you guys ready? You guys ready now? The key is Gonzo Shitcock says, will Pasquale make a video appearance? That's the whole purpose of the trip, is to get quality Pasquale. I mean, we want Pasquale saying, we got to come up with a list of things that we want Pasquale to be taped saying. And I was told Pasquale will participate. So, I mean, we want to do an interview with Pasquale, and then we got to have some drops.
Interview.
We got to have some Pasquale says, get out of here.
Yeah, I want a one-on-one interview with Pasquale.
We should get also like maybe on our live stream on Friday or whatever, maybe the chat can chime in with some questions they'd like us to ask. I think that'd be funny if Pasquale. It also would help him realize that so many people know who he is and care about him and joke about him.
Pasquale's got to go on a billboard or something, and just all over the place.
Oh yeah, we're gonna make Pasquale a huge star.
Pasquale. Okay.
Gonzo says Pasquale says Farhan brings out expression. Yeah, great.
Oh man,
we need more sound on Pasquale. Yes, we will.
Hey, you know what? Kyle Martinez looks a little like Gabe.
Go fuck yourself, soundbite.
Kyle looks a little like Gabe there.
Kyle's called in before.
Look at his. Wait, let me.
Do you remember when Kyle called in?
Has he got a manicured beard just like Gabe? Look at that. He's got the Giants skipper hat on. He's got the looks like the Giants shirt or jacket on. That you sure that isn't Gabe?
Yeah.
I've actually got a picture with Kapler. Do you know that?
Wow, you have pictures with a lot of people.
Seriously, Danny, this was your move, huh? Get over here, Gabe. I love you. 3 years from now, I'll be ripping you.
This is when he just started. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Gabe, he seems like a nice guy. Don't have anything against the man personally. I'm just not really a fan of his managerial style.
Yep. Well, what can you say? Last year was perfect. This year, not so much. All right, guys, good stuff. Tomorrow we have 49ers Texans preseason game number 3. And I believe 5 o'clock. Is that the start time? 4 o'clock?
Yes, I believe.
Is Purdy going to get any action tomorrow night?
I think so, but I don't know. I would expect he would. But I saw Kyle said that Trey Lance, if he does play, will only play in the first half. So it sounds like Trey is going to go.
Oh, I meant to ask you, did you see, I know you put out your 53. Did you see Matt Miako's 53?
No. Why?
He just put it out, what he's projecting.
Yeah. And
you want to hear any particular spots or?
Yeah. Who's his quarterbacks? Sudfeld and Lance.
And he says in the mix, Brock Purdy.
In the mix. Okay.
In the mix. And then running back, he's got
who's getting cut?
He's got
Sermon.
He's got in the mix Sermon and Mason. He's got 5 Mitchell, Juice at fullback, TD Price, Wilson, and Hasty. So he's got those. He's usually he seems to get pretty close because he's got some ins. Sounds like being a
No,
reporting
I don't.
sometimes.
He doesn't
No,
have
you don't
any
think so?
ins. No,
He's
no,
just guessing
no.
himself. He's
Yeah,
not getting any.
they're not.
Okay.
Believe me, these guys are not telling Matt Mayoko who's going to be on the final roster.
Okay.
He just has insight because he just has insight.
So his receivers, he's got 5: Debo, Ayuk, Jennings, McLeod, and Danny Gray. In the mix, Malik Turner, Willie Snead, Marcus Johnson, and Tay Martin. Tight end, he's got 4 making the cut. That's crazy.
I know.
Kittle,
I've heard people say that too, but I to me, all
Criddle,
those guys would clear
Warner,
waivers.
Dwelly, and Croft. Definitely, I think Croft and 2 of those guys in the mix. Troy Fumagalli, then injured reserve Matthews. Offensive line, he's got 9.
How many D line?
10. And he's got in the mix Hyder, Atkins, Barrett, and Spence.
I think Hyder makes it. I think they go 11 D linemen. How many linebackers? 6 or 5?
5. He's got Warner, Greenlaw, Alshire, Burks, and Flanagan Foles. In the mix, McCreary Ball, Sugun Olby, and Curtis Robinson. DBs, he's got 10.
Yeah, that they usually keep 10 DBs. I think I've got 4 safeties and 6 corners, with Quantrez Knight being a corner, but he can also play safety.
Let's see. He's got all the guys you would expect making the cut. He's got Odom in there. And he does have Lenore and Thomas. So
no Tariq Castro Fields. I think that one's going to be interesting. Does Ambry
he's got
Thomas
him in the mix? In the mix.
Yeah, does Ambry Thomas make it, or does Tariq Castro Fields make it? I think that's one of the big questions. Does Marcelino McCrary Ball make it, or does Demetrius Flanagan Foles make it? I think that's one of the big questions. And then does Jordan Willis make it, or does Kamoko Toure make it, or do they both make it? I think that is kind of one of the questions.
He's got Toure.
What about Poe?
Willis.
Does he have Poe on the roster?
He's got both Toure and Willis. Let's see what he's got on the offensive line.
Poe.
He's got Williams, Banks, Brunskill, Burford, McGlinchey, Brendel, McKivitz, Moore, and Poe. In the mix, Zakel, Justin School, Sutherland, Donovan West, and Alfredo Gutierrez. See, I think if they carry, I would rather carry an extra offensive lineman than an extra tight end, because you can always pick up a tight end somewhere, especially when I wouldn't expose.
Well, it just comes down to waivers. It's like who's going to be claimed off waivers and who's not. Yeah. I think the tight end, I think you could put every tight end they have that's not named George Kittle on waivers, and I don't know that any would be picked up, even Charlie Warner. So I would protect the rookies. You know, I kind of laid that out yesterday. To me, they have 12 good rookies, and I think if I were them, I would keep those 12 rookies. I would definitely make sure that, that my rookies were protected, because I think there's a lot. I think they really hit it on those rookies this year. I think they had a tremendous draft.
Well, people like to pick up the rookies because of the salary cap too, versus the veterans.
Yeah, but I mean, like Drake Jackson, TDP, Danny Gray, Burford, Kalia Davis is on the NFI list, but then Womack. All right, that's 5 good rookies right there. But then you got Purdy and you got Mason. Did he have Mason on the team? No,
he's got Mason in the mix. See, I would rather.
I'd put Mason on. I'd put Poe on. I'd choose McCrary Ball. I'd go with Quantrez Knight. The only rookie that I would expose to waivers, because I don't think he'll get claimed, is Tay Martin. The rest of them I would put on the 53. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Cannot you have like I remember when they had he was a big receiver, Ty Streets, what was he, like 6'3", 220, 225, something like that. But, they tried to convert Jordan Matthews into a tight end. Can't they take one of those bigger receivers that's maybe on the bubble and make them kind of like the third or fourth tight end? and retain them as.
Well, you have
The only
Juwan
thing
Jennings.
is maybe Jennings.
You have Juwan Jennings.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. I was talking about this the other day with a guy. There's your third tight end is generally a flat. I mean, you put 3 tight ends on the line of scrimmage. No, you're going to put somebody flexed out. So could Jennings serve a role twice a game as a flexed out tight end? Yeah, he absolutely could. And if you had to go jumbo package and you wanted,
could be
you could put Poe at tight end.
Yeah.
You absolutely could. He's a drive blocker. You want to put him on the line of scrimmage. In fact, you probably want to put him on the line of scrimmage. Heck, we saw Harbaugh during a good portion of the time he was here use big defensive lineman Will Tukuafu.
Poe could be a guy in the backfield as a lead blocker on a.
He absolutely could. I'd use Poe as my backup tight end in the jumbo package. I use him as my backup fullback.
Yeah,
why not?
I just don't know why teams don't think out of the box, because that's seldom used. You're talking maybe a play a game where you need that one, maybe 2 plays. Why would you carry an extra guy and expose a potential really good?
We'll see. A lot of times it's just about, do you think they're going to get through waivers? Like, has Poe's profile grown throughout the preseason where they don't feel he'll sneak through waivers? If that's the case, they may put him on the 53. Same thing with Brock Purdy.
He's got him on there. Miyoko's got him on there. You had him on there. I think he makes it just because. First
of all, if he doesn't make it, somebody's got something to answer for, because I really think the kid's got, we're talking about Poe now. I think he has Pro Bowl potential. I don't think he's just decent. I think he's got Pro Bowl potential. And if you don't agree, if you think, oh, Krueg, you're crazy, go read the quotes on NBC Sports Bay Area from Trent Williams about Poe, and then come back and tell me that you don't believe in this kid. Trent Williams believes in him completely and describes a player that is also on a Pro Bowl trajectory. So he sees it. They see it too. I really, at the end of the day, I believe the Niners know what they have in Purdy, and they know what they have in Poe, and I think they'll both make the roster.
Was Poe, or was it Kalia Davis that right after the draft they showed they were practicing like as a fullback?
That was Poe.
Yeah. He's
catching passes out of the backfield.
Yeah, that was an incredible athlete. You gotta have that. I mean, that's a guy that's seeing that he can not only be used as a offensive guard, but like you said, be put in situations as a tight end, extra tight end, can also catch a ball, if needed. That makes you so much more versatile. If you can become, for the roster, a 3rd, 4th tight end, you don't have to carry that extra tight end.
If Poe was 6'3", he would have gone in the 3rd round, but instead he's 6 feet, 6'1",
but
he played at Mercer. So that's the deal. All right, guys, good stuff.
Awesome.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Here for whatever you bring me, getting handled. I answer to no one, I don't need to hassle. Yeah.